Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people. I'm Caddicarus and
I play video games.
And if you're watching this video, you do. And if your grandma is watching this video, she's probably doing it out of obligation. And if she is watching, she should stop because I do say a lot of fucks and c***. But anyway, yeah, I play a fair amount of video games, and occasionally, only rarely, I will play a game which I will really fucking like, and no one else does. Whatever the case may be, friends hating it, critics hating it, fans of the franchise hating it, for whatever reason, I always feel like I'm the only one that likes a game. And here are 10 of them. Just so that we're clear here, this is not a list of underrated games, because in some cases of this list, some of these games aren't actually that good. And if ever I bring critic reviews into this, I'm not defending critic reviews at all, I'm just using them to back up my points. So yeah, I just think that I like these games and I can't find anyone else that does. So, you know, don't hate me, I can't help what I like. Also, I'm gonna order this top 10 based on how controversial it may be in terms of the scale of, oh my god, how could you like that piece of shit, that some people may say. And obviously, one game per franchise, and kiss my feet. Okay, number 10 may be considered pretty fucking good, actually. It wasn't really that fair to start with this, was it? But like it or lump it, here's the thing. Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops is a PSP exclusive, much like Peace Walker used to be before the HD remakes, and it's a canonical game to the Metal Gear Solid saga, taking place after MGS3 and before Peace Walker. But despite tons of critical acclaim and pushing the PSP hardware to its fucking limits, nobody that I know that are fans of Metal Gear Solid seem to even remember it. Where is it in the HD remakes, you fools? Personally, I love this game, and in terms of it being portable Metal Gear Solid, it blew my mind before I even played it. And when I did play it, I loved the soundtrack, the visuals, the gameplay, the story, and this great new mechanic of kidnapping anyone and everyone to recruit them to Big Boss's newest scheme that grows into the events of Peace Walker and beyond. Maybe I'm completely wrong and tons of you love this game as much as I do, but unfortunately, let's face facts, no one on any of my Metal Gear Solid videos even mentions it. Why? I don't know. Perhaps it faded into obscurity, or perhaps people just didn't like it and I'm the only one that bloody does. Number 9 is a weird one. We're on the PS1 again. Because who saw that coming, eh? And this is a movie licensed game. Because who saw that coming? Oh wait, I've only done 3 movie licensed games. Anyway, this is A Bug's Life, the video game. The PS1 version to be exact, because I understand that all the ports of this game differ a lot, and in my opinion, this is the better port by a long way. But regardless, look at this! Look at these reviews! Look at them! I don't understand that myself. I personally found this game to be completely harmless. It was bouncy, vibrant, with good level design for the most part, decent control, not great bosses to be fair, but with a solid atmosphere and great visuals. You really do feel like a stupid little ant embarking on a collectathon quest whilst battling those higher up the food chain. Maybe I'm blinded by my childhood here, but seriously? Come on guys, I thought this game wasn't that bad at all. Oh, and easily, without a doubt, the soundtrack for this game is fucking brilliant. I use it a lot in my videos. It's just great. That's it, thank you very much. Number 8 was one that honestly confused me. This was the first Wii game that I ever played, and not to mention the first Paper Mario game that I ever played. And after I sang this game's praises everywhere to everybody, no one that I said it to seemed to agree with me. I haven't played any of the others, to be fair, except from that fucking sticker. But I do understand that this game was a bit of a departure from the original games, instead focusing more on platforming, puzzles, and action, with RPG elements and stats and upgrades kind of sprinkled in. Which I adore! I love it! I love all of it! The humor, the characters, the control, the platforming, the great music, the abilities and upgrades, the areas you explore, the puzzles, and those visuals are masterful. I had never played a game quite like this before until Super Paper Mario, and I put so many hours into it, it drove my stepdad crazy. I loved the flip abilities as well, and I love this game. And so did many other critics. But, however, so many people I've spoken to didn't like it at all because of, I don't know. Maybe it's my obsession with Tombi-styled games and 2.5D. That joke is old now, shut up! Or maybe I'm just insane. Who knows? Who cares? Let's just have some good old innovative Nintendo fun. I can imagine number 7 may piss off a lot of people, but honestly, I really like Spyro: A Hero's Tale. And after the complete misstep of Enter the Dragonfly, I figured that Spyro would only go right downhill. Granted, I'm not a fan of any of the Legends games, and I wasn't the biggest fan of Skylanders. I mean, who wants a purple pug with wings and scales as their protagonist? But in terms of the next generation of Spyro games not made by Insomniac, I really bloomin' well like this game. Granted, I didn't love it, I mean, they completely fucked over Sergeant Bird for definite, but this game was a blast in my opinion. What I really really love is that it tried to escape from the typical Spyro hub worlds and level selection with portals, and gems were now used as currency for items to further advance the story and discover secrets in the gorgeous and entirely open world environments. It took a very Jak and Daxter approach to the whole Spyro formula, and I for one loved how they did it. The controls and level design were also fucking joyfully ace, and I thought that it captured the purest essence of childlike wonder and exploration that Spyro should have taken on his departure to the PS2, GameCube and Xbox generation. He may have dive-bombed into the sea, but then he shot up again to glory. And then he kind of got confused and smacked into a tree. Number 6. Who remembers this beauty? I can't defend my liking for these games. I really can't. But, I mean, it's a generation before the Kinect, and it's better. There, I said it. The iToy games on PS2, specifically the original trilogy of stupid minigames, are a guilty pleasure for me. And in case you missed this bandwagon, they are all motion-censored minigames, to be precise. Sounds lame? Nah! I played these for hours as a kid, and I have absolutely no idea why. Everything about these games and the iToy device itself is so silly, yet so fucking clever. It's hard to pinpoint, really. The games and minigames are primitively simple, yet provide tons of really hilarious multiplayer. The concepts are great enough for anyone at all to join in, and I mean anyone. It's literally a stand-in, fuck around and have fun series of games, which requires no real mastery or even any serious learning. And even the critics seem to agree on that front, kind of. You look like a dumbass doing it, you appear on the TV screen within the game itself, the games work around your body as if it is on screen, and believe it or not, it actually works. And it still works perfectly today, it's unbelievable. And personally, if you ask me, this shit's all over the Kinect, and it predated it by nearly 7 years. What's not to like? Over how lame it actually is and how everyone has told me that I shouldn't like them at all? Why can't people just have fun anymore? Number 5 is Wind Waker. I loved Wind Waker. Why didn't anybody else? Look at it. It's adorable, it's harmless, it's adventurous, and it's awesome. Lighten up, people. Sailing is fucking awesome. Treasure hunting is fucking awesome. The soundtrack is fucking awesome. It's fucking Zelda, guys. On the water. Am I really alone with this one? Why am I even justifying myself? Number 4 is definitely one that I didn't see many people liking. Well, most people didn't see liking. And I can kind of see where they're coming from, but goddamn guys, you play a Big Daddy with a drill. Is this too similar to Bioshock 1? Yes. Is the plot a lot less philosophical and clever? Yes. Is it a lot of combat, repetitive defense missions, running around through linear goals and not much else? Yes, it is. But I liked it. A fucking fair bit. I can honestly look past all of the things that people have criticized about it, because as far as I was concerned by this point, I was playing a first-person shooter as a Big Daddy. I knew that there'd be a lot of fighting, and I knew that the plot would be a bit simpler. I mean, how exactly could you top the first one? Well, by the third one, to be fair, but that was something that could have never have worked in Rapture. The first one had covered more or less everything to do with the universe of Rapture, so expecting something else bigger than one's twist to come out of the same scale in time in the same area would be far too risky and difficult. And so, 2K Games didn't do that. They didn't try to do that, and it works all the better for the story and therefore the game itself. And I have no problem with it at all. And I really did still love playing through the game. Rapture was still as gorgeous and as twisted as ever, the atmosphere was still oppressive and tense, and not to mention the characters you meet and interact with all had really interesting backstories, and I will always love Sophia Lamb because honestly, I thought she was pretty fucking creepy. And the way that her side of the story brings into the politics of Rapture and Andrew Ryan and the battles, and I thought it was really fucking interesting. And for me, the very ending was just a little bit more satisfying overall. And those big sisters can fucking fanny themselves for all I care.
I don't like them.
But that's why I liked it, because I do know that loads of people didn't. And that's it, I guess. Oh, and critics loved it too. But when were they ever right? Number 3. Why won't I ever review this game? Because I like it and no one else I've ever spoken to does. Condemn me to hell, why don't you? Wrath of Cortex was the first PS2 game that I ever played and I loved it. Well, not loved, but liked? Certainly. It was exactly what I expected a PS2 Crash game to be, and even though Naughty Dog had graciously moved on, I had no major problems with Wrath of Cortex. Traveler's Tales had lovingly kept the same art style as the previous games, Crash & Company still looked like their PS1 counterparts, the visuals were actually really damn great, the soundtrack is bloody fantastic, fantastic, and it was more or less an updated and different version over my favorite Crash installment, Crash 3 Warped. Where people say this is too similar to that game, yeah, I get ya. And for Crash standards, the boss battles are pretty lame, and the difficulty spikes are pretty huge and everything, but if you step back and see what it actually is, it's good, recognizable, and familiar fun. It played it safe and didn't make any major departures, but again, that can be seen negatively, so I do get why I may be alone with this one. But guys, Mark Hamill and R. Lee fucking Ermey are in this game. Oh, and Thomas F. Wilson. Come on.
Crash Bandicoot, you've got some nerve setting foot into my domain without an invitation.
Other than that, it did what the other sequels did. It kept the formula similar, but just added a little bit more vehicles, challenges, and power-ups. And playing as Coco actually running around, that was pretty cool. It was everything that I expected, and it did it.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
Number 2. I'm so sorry. Why do I even like this game? Well, okay, take yourself back 7 years ago to the mind of a 12-year-old child. Me, to be more exact. I had heard about this hoverboard racing game starring Sonic the fucking Hedgehog, and I was really excited. After seeing the possibilities with hoverboards in Airblade for the PS2, I was stoked. I saved up all of my pocket money, and then when it got to the last pound that I needed, I was on holiday in Wales. I think it was Wales anyway. It was really sunny and awesome part of Wales. Anyway, we went shopping one day, and there it was, sitting there, looking awesome. Day of release. I had the money and then I bought it. And then for a week or two, I was more or less stuck with it on holiday. Initially, I hated it. The controls were balls, it made no sense, the learning curve was too steep, and there was nothing about it that I liked in terms of racing games, or Sonic games for that matter. It was just a stressful and overly complicated waste of time. And why would a supersonic hedgehog run at light speed when he can just stand on a fucking skateboard? But then, I got better at the game. I couldn't let this childish-looking Sonic game defeat me, so I pressed on. Eventually, after intense and intensive practice, I honed my skills and I kicked ass. And from then on, I grew attached. And then and now, I really fucking like this game. After I got the learning curve down, I just really fucking enjoyed it. Look at the hours I put into it. I loved this game like a son. I then appreciated the Mario Kart-esque level designs, the character-specific shortcuts, the tenseness of keeping your board full of air, and everything else in between. Mastering this fine art of weird hoverboard racing controls was ungodly satisfying, even more satisfying than the backwards and hilarious plot that modern Sonic games are infamous for. And let's not forget the Tails Babylon rants of 2006.
Babylon, 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 Babylon.
Do I play it religiously today? No. But do I like it? Yes. Did anyone else like it? No. Can I see why? Yes. Please, don't kill me for this, guys. But you know what? Yes, I liked Resident Evil 5. And you can all sharpen your pitchforks and storm the fucking house down, but here's the thing.
You don't know where I live.
No one else in the world liked this game. Why? I don't actually know. Well, actually, that's a big fucking lie. I know exactly why people didn't. I may be biased because this was actually the first Resi game that I ever truly played and finished through, and I was about 14 when I did. But then after I got the balls to tackle Resi 1, which was just on the shelf for years because I was too scared to go near it, I then got my job 2 years later, earned a little bit of money, and then I sought after all the other ones, Resi 2, Resi 3, Code Veronica, and then Resi 4. Yeah, then all the hate became clear. Resi 5 is a watered down to fuck Resi 4 with a stupid AI companion that constantly wastes all of your and her supplies and gives you tons of game overs, no sense of vulnerability and loneliness, no tragedy, outright copied segments from Resi 4, and no majorly memorable moments. And I'm not defending this game for a second or calling anyone a dickhead idiot for not liking it, because I understand entirely why. I'm just sharing my personal guilt. As a huge fan of the preceding Resi games, I should hate this, but I don't. I personally loved the way it looked. I loved the African Sahara setting and the disgusting atmosphere. I loved the ridiculous plot like in the other games. I loved seeing the steroid-infused Chris Redfield return. I loved seeing the all-of-a-sudden British and positively evil Albert fucking Wesker come back. Granted, at that time I hadn't played Resi 4, and looking back, I can see exactly why people were pissed off. And to be honest, I'm a little bit pissed off that Capcom did something like this after Resi 4. But honestly, even with that being the case, and even after me preferring the original trilogy on PS
PS1 for Resident Evil, I still like it. The controls were the same classic Resi, the action in my opinion was great, and it still had some teeny tiny elements of survival horror even though nowhere near as unsettling or well placed as Resi 4. Where things truly fuck up is Resi 6, and that video I did of it is hideously outdated. 3.5 stars? 7 out of 10? What was I thinking? I was fucking mad! That game is worth a 2.5 stars or 3 stars at best. Oh, and anyway, you also get to play Resi 5 multiplayer as well, which is always a good laugh. Just ignore the Resident Evil tag and the weird direction that the series took, and look at this objectively. As a game, I found it a blast regardless. And that's kind of it really. No one seems to agree with me. Resident Evil 5. I know, a slap in the face. But for me, a slap in the face with a bit of steak. It hurts, but ah well, brush it off and it tastes nice, I guess.
And there you have it, my top 10 games that I liked but no one else did. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it all, and I'm pretty sure that all of you guys have some games that you felt completely alone with liking, so please leave a comment and share your personal picks. And until next time, if it's your birthday today or watching this video, then happy freaking birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful.
I'll never shy away from the fact that I love point-and-click adventure games. In the past I have played many
Groovy. Hello?
Scarfulu, my dear, dear friend. So, I hear you like point-and-click adventure games.
This is correct.
I'm coming over now!
If it takes forever, I will wait for you.
Oh, wait a second. He lives 4 hours away. Bollocks to that.
For 1,000 summers, I will wait for you.
Caddy, did you just shout me?
Yes! You can hear me?
Yeah, I kinda can.
Wow! Brilliant! This means I finally harnessed my telepathic abilities.
Wait, if you're telepathic, then why did you even bother trying to come over? And if we're having this conversation right now, does that mean I'm telepathic too?
You know what? I don't
know.
I know, right?
Who needs logic anyway?
I don't.
Me neither.
Agreed.
Well, if we're here, we might as well play a game.
A point and click?
Hell yeah.
Let's do it!
Broken Sword 2?
Broken Sword 2. Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not a game deserves to be slaughtered or salvaged.
Ah, hello there. I'm Scarfulu. That's Scarf plus Cthulhu in case you were wondering. And yeah, I do game video stuff too.
And today, we're going to try something a little bit different this time round, because as it turns out, Scarfulu and I both really like point-and-click adventure games. And after Broken Sword 2 made it onto my top 20 PS1 games countdown, Scarfulu didn't realise I liked that game, or any kind of point-and-clicks, and it did kind of surprise him. So much, up to the point where we wanted to do a cute little review of it.
And so without any further ado, here is Broken Sword 2. No, not on the PS1. But on the beastly PC, because it'll be much better.
Fucking prick.
Ah, Broken Sword 2. Perhaps one of my favourite adventure games of all time, next to games such as Monkey Island. This was actually one of the first adventure games I ever played to completion, and boy was it a good one.
I will just say that I've never played any other Broken Sword game, and I've only played the PS1 version of this. Ah! I'm sorry, that box art still scares the bejesus out of me. Anyway, yeah, this is the only version that I ever played, so this whole remastered PC malarkey will be very interesting for me.
On the other hand, I first played this game with the original PC version, so the remaster is new territory for me as well. I'm just hoping they didn't tamper with the game too much.
But other than that, we kick off straight into the game. And I've got to say, you know when a game means business when the first credit is written in unformatted Arial font. And after a very pleasant series of animated events, the game kicks you in the balls and throws you into the deep end because this fucking icky thing is charging towards you at top speed. What do I do about a lot? But then once you come to your senses, you can mess around with the click mechanics, which are as follows. Left-clicking a highlighted object, character, or allows our main character, Stobart, to interact with said thing. Right-clicking, however, offers a description of said thing, as well as a small analysis to hint you into a way it could be useful later on. Other than that, you do what you usually do in these kinds of games. Click on shit everywhere! Literally, just click on everything. Click here, click there, click upside down. Why not?
And then, if you're lucky, clicking somewhere with the correct thing at the correct time allows progression of the story. Just like here, where in order to dispatch this 8-legged menace, we can tip the bookshelf over by kicking its supports. The results of this are self-explanatory, but oh, it's certainly satisfying just to watch that spider erupt into goo.
And now we can free ourselves from tied ropes with this jagged metal part of the wall.
With one mighty bound, our hero is free.
Yeah, he seems awfully happy with himself over that. And then, much like the click mechanics, they sort of work the same way around with the items that you pick up. Except you can left-click to drag items that you have into other objects in the game to see if they cooperate, and right-click them while they're in your bag to get a brief description of the item, and sometimes an examination of that item in order to find other items within that item. For example, things such as this.
The pot contained a key.
It's smart, isn't it? Well, I thought so, you dick. And also, later on in the game, mixing items in your bag also becomes a necessity. You better be thinking on your toes, lads.
But then, this is where we get to talk about the few decisions over the remastered edition of this game that we both feel don't really benefit it.
And first of all, before we mention anything else, these stupid bloody things. The comic book-esque faces that feel they need to make an appearance every time a character opens their drooling mouth. Don't get me wrong, I feel as though they add a little bit more variety and spice and animation to some of the slower scenes of the game, but at the same time, they could have been done much better. Look at his disgusted face. Do you see? He is disgusted. These certain turns of events have left him looking disgusted. It's almost like you're reading Watership Down and needing a picture of a dead bunny on every page because, you know, just words are in no way satisfactory for conveying the message that Mr. Stobart is disgusted. I mean, look at some of these characters later on. As a kid, this guy used to terrify me, but now, look at him. He looks like he could be an uncle. I especially love it when his eyes open.
I'm certain my girlfriend was brought here when she was abducted. What?
And even look in this bit, their expressions aren't even remotely similar.
I think the most disturbing example of this is in the art gallery when talking to the two Japanese tourists.
By the way, not only are the faces weird, but look at this. They couldn't even spell phone correctly without putting that stupid symbol there and fucking it all up to high heavens and the kingdom of the Bibbles.
I have to agree that this remaster is slightly disappointing to me. Not only was it kinda unnecessary, but it twiddles with the game like George Lucas twiddles with the original Star Wars trilogy. Just leave it alone. It doesn't need this pointless fluff, and it's creepy pointless fluff at that.
And even though the voice acting has been beautifully remastered, there are some areas of the game where the muffling from the original version shines through, almost like they forgot to do certain bits.
I should have known you'd be trouble the moment I saw you. General, I am happy to report that I have apprehended the terrorists.
But anyway, enough focusing on the negatives and let's look at the positives, because the rest of this is
fabuloso.
Within the game, going back to item usage, it's never too easy going on what you can and can't do. I mean, sure, you can do things to progress the story, but the fact that you can also undo them straight away again leaves you thinking if it is indeed the right thing to do, or if it is the right time to do it. Like, just here, I can unlock the front door, fine, but then I can always lock it up again, so who knows whether or not I should do it at this point. It's a really smart mechanic, and in this case, it's also accompanied by a witty little remark from George.
Something possessed me to lock the door again.
That's clever. What isn't too clever though is this little problem that was also in the original, and that was with the voiceover being fucking buried in the other sounds.
There was no sign of lava when I got to the cafe. I decided to order a coffee and wait for it.
And to be honest, it isn't much of a problem with subtitles or these monstrosities up here, but at the same time, it's a little bit annoying.
As far as sound issues go, there's also a weird stereo issue where the game thinks it's tackling virtual surround sound, but there's no gradual panning in between the left and right speakers, so then the game ends up having certain noises and voices only coming out of one channel depending on where they are on the screen. Just stick some headphones on here and see what I mean.
I want the worthy successor, and you're not it.
Does Ubier employ a guy from Central America?
I also agree that this is a tad bothersome, but again, it isn't too much of an issue, it's just a vague annoyance. And it also doesn't matter because the music, where it needs using, is superb. It's full of atmosphere and threat right from the very get-go, and every little thing that you do wrong or right is either rewarded or punished by use of a great score. It's only used in snippets all throughout the game and it works perfectly.
There was something short, fleshy, and gross on the carpet.
Yeah, I bet there was! And also, this voice acting is, in my opinion, marvelous. It's full of cheese, but at the same time, it's bursting with character. Almost like this. And all the voice actors do a great job of being the characters that they are. Is it perfect?
That's a relief. I never feel comfortable with him about.
Me neither. These damn pants keep riding right up my butt.
Not in the slightest, but are the actors suitable for the voices? Definitely. And it makes the journey so much more fun. And what the holy hell is going on with that telly? And yet what else is fun? These puzzles and objectives. Many of them require a moment to stop and think, others require lots of observational and memory skills, and others require actual quick reactions and a mishmash of all the other skills combined. Like for example, just here, you need to upset this old guy by talking about his past, meaning that his eyes get covered by his hands, meaning that you can steal his flask. Or even here, where you need to use dog biscuits to lure a dog onto a platform and then use a hook to dunk him into the docks and oh no! And sometimes it's something as simple as calling a waiter before he walks off. It's, what do you say?
Fabuloso!
Something which I have noticed a lot in this game is that you're often a nuisance to other people.
Hey, get out of there.
You know, wherever I go, I hear those words. Paris, Syria, Ireland, or Spain. Makes no difference.
For example, there's a part where you need to set a bush on fire to fill a treehouse up with smoke in order to get the attention of a priest. That's not exactly a nice thing to do now, is it?
And what else do I like about this? The writing. Not only in the story, but some of these lines are just fucking brilliant. The dry and grounded wit of nearly every single conversation is something absolutely glorious to witness. I mean, just check out some of these lines.
Look at this. A poison dart. Knocked my girlfriend out cold in a matter of seconds.
Sounds like a real close relationship you have going.
The stench of cheap cologne rolled over me like tear gas.
That dart was sharper than a mosquito's business end. One of the reasons I hate guns so much is the way they make people so damned impolite. I glanced over the books, vaguely hoping to find a copy of How to Deal with Poisonous Spiders While Tied to a Chair.
I'm looking for an official guide to take me to the old pyramid.
For a lovely lady, I would go to the ends of the earth. For you, I will go as far as the pyramid and back.
Our stage name was Carol Climax.
Ha! That's funny! The talented writing also shines through in the story when you find out that the big bad avatar boring man 9000 over here is
smuggling cocaine.
And everyone at home is asking the question,
why are you so interested in that stone?
It's just twist after twist after twist. And as it is with point-and-click adventures, the story is the driving force behind the whole game, so it's great that the story and the writing is full of intrigue, mystery, darkness, action, and dry humor. And it also benefits everything in the long run when every single character you bump into is quirky and interesting. Be them a bit.
George!
And a little bit.
No.
And even George can be a little bit.
One thing I really love about this game is that certain items such as the dog biscuits and the thong can be offered to people for some hilarious dialogue.
Would you be interested in these panties? They look about your size.
Put them away before you get overexcited.
I have these very exotic panties. Take them away, you pervert!
Would you like a dog biscuit?
Would you like a smack in the mouth, Chico?
What do you think of these panties, Dwayne?
Lord, hot stuff, George. You buy those for your girl?
No, a guy we know in Paris bought them for her.
Oh, you're a threesome then.
The best part about these is that they are completely optional, really. You can go in being all no-nonsense Mr. Serious Pants and focus your efforts on actually beating the game, or you can go around and offer weird items to people. It does nothing for progression, but it's just brilliant to see how each character responds.
Oh, and by the way, did I mention the visuals? Fuck me sideways, the visuals are gorgeous. Look at the detail here, it evokes so much out of me that I can't even possibly describe it. There isn't a single thing I can criticize about it. I wouldn't add a single drop more. It's just
Fabuloso.
Walking around a dark and mature cartoon story has never felt quite as exciting for me than with this game. And the visuals really drive everything along perfectly along with the characters and music.
The combination of visuals and music is some of the best I have ever seen in a game. It makes it all the more immersive, and it makes the whole experience just that much more complete. Complete with a little pink bow on top.
Also, some people may criticize point and clicks where the items are highlighted, but look at these guys. Even with the blue rings over here, shit like the hook down here is not easy to find. And even the bottle down here. Yes, amongst all this shit.
And check out these scratch marks. Even after you turn the lights on, they're still close to impossible to see. And when you eventually do find something as silly as this bottle, for instance, finding out what you do with them is another mystery.
But if you haven't got that much of an inquisitive mind, the game has some hints built in, and they're also in categories. The more hints you want to use, the more obvious they get. It's very cute and it's very handy if you ever get stuck. But who does that? I want to beat the game myself, Ruffle lol YOLO slag. But more to the point, these puzzles are things that simply never age. No matter how many times I come back to this game, I get stumped on so many bits. They're just so devious and well constructed that they never age, even after its release date of 1997, which not many games can hold proud today. Upon replaying, there's the bit with smoking out the hut and the chimney with the bottle, and it really did take me a while to piece everything together. Going back to items again, there are some very handy items that come in use throughout the whole game, but then some items that appear to have infinite uses can actually only be used at one point, so don't get too cocky with assuming that items are usable everywhere.
One thing I'd like to say is that I love how creative some of these puzzles are, even if they are fairly straightforward. One that really stands out to me is the way you get rid of the goon at the warehouse. First of all, you lead him outside. Then, you climb up towards this barrel dispenser majiggy, and releasing one sets up the perfect position for you to experience how it must feel to be Donkey Kong. This game is also great not only with the items and click interface, but also the conversations and conversation trees you can produce, making every playthrough different each and every time. If you're talking about a certain subject, you can instigate it further. Or not.
It's completely up to you. But just so you know, vital hints from characters can be missed or completely forgotten by not exhuming the correct amount of oral sensitivity, and in some points of the game the characters have different reactions around Josh, depending on what he talks about or even does around them first.
You could at least have helped me before grabbing everything you could find.
And that dog that I dunked earlier, he will be missed. Poor old 20. I wrote him a song of woe and a song of tribute to a true people's poet and all-round American hero. Ladies and gentlemen, the song of the century.
820, 820, 820, 820, 820, 820.
Oh, and I can finally talk about the mother-humping deaths. Oh lord, they're glorious. Yes, if you aren't a quick clicker or quick thinker or just have a knack for pissing everybody off ever, then this will probably happen to you. You need to stay on your toes with the whole story, even for a point-and-click adventure game. It's not as simple as making a wrong move or clicking on the wrong thing. It's a case of not acting fast enough to stay safe. And I love that. Well, I also love that.
There's also one part in this game where the potential of death is particularly unnerving. So you're playing as Nico at this point, and you're at a boat in London. You need to gain access to this boat, but there's a guard patrolling, and therefore you have to plan your movements and actions quickly before he sees you. It's actually quite terrifying. There hasn't been any other adventure game which makes my heart pound like this one did here. But it doesn't end there. Once you're inside the boat, you get attacked by the grumpy military dude, and oh my god, this game can be so tense.
And finally, Generally, despite never playing the first one, the game's story and characters are perfect for newcomers as it allows you to enjoy the whole experience without any research. Sure, it helps a little bit if you do research it, but in terms of this game, the backstories and events leading up to the start of the story are actually all discoverable through neat little comic book passages unlocked as you progress. Not only that, but as you play, the game's chronicles are all written by George himself in his own journal, so you can always have a quick catch up at any point.
Other than that, you can dive into this game completely uneducated and surface, truthful and wise, whilst loving every second of it. That's what I did, as this was my entry into the series as well. And what a magnificent entry this installment gave.
It's simply and utterly
Fabuloso!
If you haven't played Broken Sword, definitely do. And if you want to play my favourite, play the second one.
I would probably put Broken Sword 2 on a list of my favourite adventure games of all time. It's just so quirky and fun. Not only that, but the game was a commercial success too, with over 1 million copies sold. And considering this game was released at a time when adventure games were starting to die off, that is pretty damn impressive, and might I say, very well deserved.
The mechanics are simple and fantastic. All the characters are memorable. It's chock full of brilliant puzzles. The music cues are perfect, it looks gorgeous, and it's all woven around a great story. The remastered version of this game for PC is out everywhere now, and it's even available in disc formation with the other 3 Broken Sword titles. And you know what? It's also cheap as well. So in those circumstances, there's not a single shadow of a doubt in my mind, Shadow of the Templars, that this game gets the salvage. And you know what? Even the PS1 version of this game gets the salvage as well, because even for the limitations of the PS1, it's still a brilliant game. Also, now that I think about it, I can use this telepathy for something a little more destructive.
Wait, I know it's customary for you to shoot all your special guests, but, you know, you can never shoot me. I live over 4 hours away. That's physically impossible. What are you talking about?
If it's your birthday today or watching this video, then happy freaking birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful.
Hey, is that a gap in the shelf over there?
What?
That shelf. Over there.
Oh, yeah. That was a game. I got it removed.
No, don't tell me, don't tell me. It was Shark Tale, the video game.
Miss Rosie. That was Jaws Unleashed.
You played Jaws Unleashed? What happened?
The game slams £12 onto my wallet, Chief. I was coming back from the realms of Amazon to eBay. Just ordered the game, the Beyond Two Souls game. But I needed something else to review. 1,100 men placed bets. The listing finished in 12 minutes. I didn't see the first review for about half an hour. A negative one. 4 out of 10. You know how a game is bad, Chief? You tell by looking at the reviews. What I didn't know was that purchasing Beyond Two Souls had been so distracting. No distress signals were sent. The reviews for Jaws didn't even come into my mind for a week. Very first light, Chief. Critic reviews started popping into my mind. So I formed my body, ready to review it myself.
Oh my god, Caddy, that was just awe-inspiring, man. That was awesome!
Gerard? What the actual hell? When? How? Are you watching me? And how can I hear you exactly?
Okay, so a few months back, I was visiting your country, and I thought to myself, why don't I just rig all of Caddy's house with cameras, just in case maybe one day he puts on an award-winning performance, an Academy Award-winning performance, and we got it! That was it! That was it! Can we cut? That was great, we're done, guys. Let's pack everything up and go.
You didn't answer my question.
Caddy, I'm sorry, man. We're done. I need not more of your services. On the Glory. That's a great movie. Glory.
What?
Ah, Miss Rosie, a fair maiden, why have you forsaken?
Oh!
Huh. Well, this definitely changes things. You didn't get rid of the game then?
Nope. Wanna know why?
Why?
I was saving it for you.
Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not a game deserves to be slaughtered or salvaged.
Hey everyone at home, my name is Gerard Dragon Rider Khalil, but most of you know me as the Completionist on my channel, That One Video Gamer. And on my show we complete games 100% and do reviews. And now I'm creepily spying on Caddy when I can.
And yet again, I can't seem to rub these collabs off my back because now I have the Completionist helping me out with reviewing a zinger of a game for the PS2 based off of one of the greatest movies ever made, Jaws. But this game here, it's something else.
So, this is Jaws Unleashed. Jaws is a fucking amazing movie, and if anyone says it's bad just because the shark looks fake, doesn't deserve to breathe.
Get out of our house, snitches! Don't breathe our air! This movie is great! Sorry. Sorry.
And yeah, Jaws was insanely successful for its time in 1975, and even nowadays, and that said success led to 3 other awful movies, as well as this particular little gem.
Ever wanted to play a game where you eat little children and rip them into pieces in a nexus of their own blood? Then this game is for you!
I'm honestly not sure what to think about this. I'm not sure if this is love or indigestion. And not to mention, critics all over the globe joined arm in arm to the united and collected decision that this game was meh. So I suppose it couldn't be too bad, eh? It's either gonna be amazing or it's gonna be a pile of wank. I'm really not sure I want to do this, but let's remember, it's only
Jaws Unleashed, Jaws Unleashed. It's just a game, it's nothing to be scared of.
And this is where we discover that the game was developed by our good friends Appaloosa, responsible for not only Echo the Dolphin, but also the PS1 port of South Park. And wouldn't you know, this was the last game they ever made before closing down? Actually, help me. Wow, this is certainly a weird remix of the Jaws theme. It sounds very fat and pompous. It almost makes the experience sound a bit more like Gums Unleashed, doesn't it? And if you leave the menu long enough, you get played the original release trailer. And with that, let's enter my name. Rubber Titi.
Yeah, I shouldn't be playing this, should I?
And then an FMV intro starts, and you know what? It isn't bad at all. It looks good and everything, but at the same time, it makes no sense. This game appears to take place after the movie, so why the hell do these people keep swarming to Amity Island in full awareness that man-eating sharks have regularly attacked the area?
It's almost like building a blooming skyscraper on top of a beehive. I mean, yes, there's honey in there, but there's also bees in there that eat people. And talking about eating people, that's exactly what this tutorial is going to teach us. Okay, why does this even exist? Seriously. Oh, I see. So we can unlock trivia from the Jaws movies in the loading screens. That's actually a very cool idea. Let's see. The lifeguard saves his life by pushing. I don't care anymore! You fucked it up, game!
But oh, look at this! I've gotta say, this actually kind of surprised me. The whole visual aspect of the game has been nailed. I think it looks great, and the animation on Gums is incredibly fluent when he swims around. Nice!
And right now, all I want to do is really explore more of this lovely ocean floor, but I can't go this way because your carriage's too strong. So I swim in the opposite direction with the X button, which is where I discovered the pressure sensitivity in the swimming. Now, I really like that idea. The harder you press the button, the faster you swim. It's almost like the shooting mechanics in Metal Gear Solid 2. But with sharks! I mean, you'd think that everything was all unwell, but then the biting happened. Oh my god, I don't like this at all.
The control, annoyingly, kind of sucks. I mean, swimming around is absolutely fine, but going into anywhere tight or confined, or aiming for a target of the size of a chickpea, is where everything becomes a nuisance.
Biting and eating these fucking specks just won't happen. It simply does not happen. Does not. does not happen. You'll never time it right, constantly miss, and have to make a long-haul truck turn to get back on track. The problem is it's just far too big and clumpy to deal with indescribably small things flowingly and easily, and it doesn't help when glitches happen either.
Hey! Gums! Gums, you right there? You appear to be a little bit stuck.
By the way, whoever thought they'd feast their eyes on this sentence in a video game? Press and hold the R1 button to bite and hold a victim, and then shake the analog stick to tear them apart.
Oh.
And good lord, look at this! Look! Jesus! Fiddlesticks. This is more or less exactly like fucking Manhunt, but with sharks.
And to be honest, even if you wanted to rip a baby seal in half, it's incredibly hard to do so because of, again, this Dumbo control scheme. For being one of the game's primary mechanics to stay alive, they sure made eating near goddamn impossible to execute. And then the other primary mechanic of the game surfaces, all about destroying properties. Properties?
Am I the only one that thinks that that choice of the word property sounds absolutely hilarious?
Nope, I'm right there with you, James. The word property is pretty funny to me, and I'm just a dumb-sounding American.
I just have this image of Jaws being a bloody black market demolition engineer who destroys real estate for a reasonable fee. But anyway, to destroy this property, we need to use a new charge ability to use our magnificent conch to knock people
right next to the water.
Does this mean I get to eat him?
Yes!
It certainly does. Oh my giddy aunt Fanny. You know, this is almost turning into Pac-Man. Sort of. But with sharks!
And then the game tries teaching you the tail whip move, which actually sucks. Like biting, it's insanely difficult to time correctly, but on top of that, you obviously need to swim past your target and hit them with the back end of your body, which is much harder than it sounds, especially when you're a 40-foot great white shark that's too big to be accurate to such a small target.
So then hilariously failed attempts of tail whipping is graciously followed by hilariously failed attempts to bite this dude that broke out of the cage. And seriously? What in the holy mother of fuck happened there? I simply cannot do this, and Gums is now the laughingstock of the sea. But if you even so much as nibble him, he will.
Like we mentioned briefly earlier, the main way to remain alive is by doing just that, eating prey. Your hunger meter will keep on decreasing and eventually take away your health unless you keep eating, which I must say is kind of a cool mechanic.
It may be as hard as sin to eat a baby seal, but still it's a neat idea. Also, when you get attacked yourself, eating quickly restores the health you lost, so it's a hugely necessary thing to learn, no matter how finicky it can be. But I've gotta say, shark or not, hungry or not, keeping alive or not, that right there is the saddest sight I think I've ever seen. I can't actually believe that this game exists to bring pleasure to a specific target market that was begging for innocent legless men swimming away from a killer shark. Enemies? They are the enemies? I thought we'd be the damn enemy!
Also, we learned that throughout the game, you can access a shark vision, another mechanic allowing Gums to lock onto other targets, which makes the whole eating process much easier. It also distinguishes the true targets from background nonsense, which helps out a ton.
And also, lovingly enough, the game also gives you the courtesy of being able to pick which body part you want to snag off. Isn't that wonderful? I think I'm gonna have his leg. And with that, I just died. That made no sense. I ate the bastard's leg and I was enjoying it. Why did I die? I don't know. Sank. Dead. Hungry. Fuck.
And unfortunately, this is more or less how the entire game pans out. Eat to stay alive, destroy property and landmarks, occasionally terrorize people and places, get points to upgrade, repeat.
It's fun for a few goes, but nothing massively new is added to the mix, turning the whole thing into a bigger effort than dunking socks into a bowl of water, rinsing them, and then dunking them again just for the pleasure of rinsing them again.
Hey Guns, can I level with you for a second here? Are you really enjoying this? Really? Well, I'm not.
And it's a massive shame because seriously, I think the game looks great. Look at the colors and the water effect. It's actually so serene and very well made. But I can't get ahead of myself too much because if you try to do anything that requires precise movement or attack, you'll blunder about like, well, a giant fish. And wouldn't you believe that I'm nearly dead again? I'm trying my hardest to catch and eat things, and even with this guy, I ate him and nothing happened. An explanation would be most appreciated. By the way, Gums has a sonar. Yeah, where this is just stupid, it actually adds a lot more depth to the seemingly repetitive gameplay. Not only does it display enemy locations, but also different points of interest like a sunken ship, for instance. This then gives some of the stages an actual free roaming and explorative experience as an underwater predator, which is actually a really neat idea. Almost like GTA. But with sharks!
It also allows you to find license plates, by the way, pretty damn funny, which will then allow you to unlock bonuses, and it also directs you to your goal. But when you arrive at your goal and you can't hit the fucking diving cage, you remember everything you didn't like to begin with.
And then when you do beat the goals, you're rewarded with the majesty of this. Well, that was a reasonable reaction. Then there's more trivia that I can't read, and then another pleasant goal is presented to me entitled Swim by the beach to attack swimmers. Oh. Yeah. Oh. And then the eating with a side order of wrecking shit returns in this segment where I need to sink this pier by destroying the support. Sounds fun? Well, guess what, it isn't.
I mean, it is hilarious when the building plops into the depths of the ocean in one perfect piece, but to get to that point is a tedious and horrible job. When charging, Gums can't seem to be able to charge through any of the beams here.
I can knock them down very easily, but I can't plow through them, meaning, wait for it, and maybe Gums gets better at this as the game progresses, I don't know. But to start you off by doing that one by one, slowly and painfully, is not a great way to introduce you to that style of gameplay. It just wants to make me avoid ever doing it again.
But do you know what is kind of awesome? Well, besides darting about the sea at full speed with your fin out of the water, beating the stage, and, get this, upgrading your super shark abilities with the points you pick up.
This is dumb, but a little bit incredible at the same time. Now I can do that. I know. It's pretty fun seeing what else you can power up and discover, I must say. By the way, beating the level showed me this clip here. Okay. I just love how no one even cared and that guy was just like, wow! That was undoubtedly the longest compulsory tutorial I've ever played.
You said it, man. What the hell's wrong with this? This game is on the PS2. There's no need to assume that we're all dumb gamers.
And unfortunately, it's more or less that throughout the whole game, just in different areas with different things to kill and destroy. By the way, listen to this.
For the first time ever, Amity has its own great white shark on display for the tourists. This is going to draw crowds in record numbers.
Mayor, our research tank can hold the shark, but we are not prepared to display him in the showroom tank.
Nonsense. The word has already spread. Give the people what they want, Brody.
Thickest bastards ever. It's actually just made me think. All the people on Amity Island have helped the economy thrive and bring back tourists. And where this may be great for them, they're building sea-bound workstations, buildings and rigs whilst capturing innocent fish for the tourists to see in the aquariums. You know, this whole commercialized and capitalist standpoint is exactly what Gums is fighting against. When the game said earlier that they were enemies, I think that they're actually correct. My God! Gums is the hero! He's the good guy! Mind fucking blown!
I understand you captured the shark by the code. Is that him? My son was killed by a shark bit.
He certainly seems distraught about that, doesn't he?
So now we've been captured, contained, and now we need to find an ID card. Wait, hold on. Gums the shark. The shark needs to find an ID card? I'm sorry, what?
With the flippers and the big gaping mouth and the toothpick. How does that make any sense?
Oh, and by the way, the music is anything but special.
It's nicely orchestrated and themes nicely with whatever Gums is doing to people on screen, but at the same time, it's too forgettable due to the fact that 80% of the music cues are simple variations or remix on the first original theme. So all it does is demonstrate the lack of imagination and shit giving. And much like the music score, I don't give a shit either, as it takes me about 4 hours to figure out that I need to pick up a scientist and drag him to the card reader. Obviously. And of course I can't do that before glitching to hell here and... what the bloody hell was that about?
Anyway, the mechanics return again here by destroying stuff and eating people. This time, the innocent screams, which are underwater, so that makes no sense, but I won't question it, of innocent little children can be extracted. Yes, innocent little children.
How much fucking darker could this possibly be? Oh, I'm going to hell, aren't I? So then I start the next level and then, wait! What? I can't do this. I don't have that much health anyway. I'll fucking finish with my fucking ways and I'm dying straight away. And I'm not very fond of this now, and I really need to stop.
Well, that was certainly a game.
Jaws Unleashed is one of those games that you would have probably appreciated had it come out at the time that the movie came out. But it's been what, 20, 30 years since that movie came out? Why? What's the point of playing this game? It makes no sense.
As for me, I'm pretty indifferent about this, to be honest, because this game, it's not the worst that I've ever played, but it's certainly nothing good due to all the flaws and problems with it, as well as, you know, ripping limbs off of children. But you know what? It's kind of cool being the shark. But does that make it worth the salvage? I'm afraid not. Jaws deserved something better. But is the game fun? It is a little bit, actually. In points, the gameplay, cutscenes, and just the whole idea of this game is just so hilarious, and it does feel like one big playable B-movie, almost like another long-lost awful sequel to the Jaws franchise. And it can be, when you're in the right mood, just big, stupid fun, be it a little bit repetitive. And I'm feeling awfully generous today. Jaws Unleashed gets the Slorvage. I'm sick, aren't I?
Whoa, 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 whoa. You mean to tell me that you're not gonna slaughter this game? Caddy, in this game, you murder children. You are a shark that murders children and people. And what's wrong with you, man? Why are you sick in the brain like that?
Gerard, like I said, I'm feeling generous today and I'm feeling happy. Don't make me kill you, because I'm not in the fucking mood.
You know what? You may murder guests on your show, but deep down inside, you love this. You love my beard, you love my heart, and I respect the living hell out of you. So if you killed me, I get it. I get it.
Gerard, I am changed. Just go.
You know what? I'm leaving. I'm good. I'm gone. Later.
If it's your birthday today while watching this video, then happy frickin' birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful. Oh, and thanks for the indigestion joke, Harris.
This hero brought the game to a small cabin where he could play it undisturbed.
This is fucking scary, isn't it? Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people. I'm Caddicarus, and I love Halloween. And what better way is there to do a Halloween special than in a place like this? Oh yeah. When Halloween creeps up and out through the month of October, one cannot help but just feel its presence knocking at the window. It's cold, mystifying, and it evokes century-old cries of horror in the days of ritualistic ceremonies and ancient... Oh. And I, for one, can't seem to keep myself away from this beautiful little haunted cabin after my last Halloween special on Evil Dead, Hail to the King. But this time, this special won't be a review. And there won't be any voiceover. Instead, this feels like the perfect time to tackle my top 10 favourite scary tracks in video games, horror game related or not. Obviously, this list is going to be pretty fucking difficult because, sure, there are theories to well-written songs and, like, well-placed and well-directed scares in movies and games, but in terms of fear overall, it's completely subjective. Some people are scared of spiders, and some find them absolutely adorable. It's just, you know, it's just one of those things. So please keep that in mind when I say that these top 10 scary songs scare me personally. Me. Look at the title of the video. My. Just for the record, I don't own any of these songs and any of the games and any of the no, I don't own any of it, and I'm not putting any fucking download links in the description because that's bullshit. If you like what you hear, buy the game, because trust me, in most of these cases, you're not going to regret it at all. Now, the only real rules for this list are as follows. 1 song per franchise, and I'm not going to be putting any manipulated songs on this list. So, you know, Song of Unhealing, as scary as you are, you can't, you don't count, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it's nothing personal. By the way, heads up, just for the best effect, for the full caddy experience today, please save this video for the dead of the night, completely pitch black, with the volume turned right up in a pair of headphones. And without further ado, please enjoy. Oh! What was that? I stood on something. Oh! Well, to start this list off, I figured I'd begin a little bit tame. This song is from the game Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, and is also known as The Chosen. Now, I'm actually going with the intro of this song over the rest of the song because it gets more relaxing as it goes on. So, you know, this song isn't even scary in the traditional sense. It's more creepy and hideously unnerving. This song not only stirs up so many questions about the game itself, but also the crying in question. Was this person trapped? Was this person completely forgotten about? Or was this person banished for unleashing some unspeakable evil? Either way, it's suitably creepy and eerie for everything that the game stands for. And to be honest, it makes the hairs on the back of my neck stand up every time I hear it. Number 9 goes to the point-and-click adventure horror classic known as Clock Tower. And personally, I had only played the PS1 version of Clock Tower because, as you know, the PS1 is my baby. But this track in particular is called Scissor Man Chase. More specifically, the theme of the main antagonist of the game, Scissor Man. Sounds gruesome? Yeah, it kind of is actually. This song succeeds like no other song by being perfectly placed and integrated into the game, and it just cuts through and pulsates through all of the quaint and ample puzzle solving of the game. It heightens up the tension unlike any song in any game I've ever played, and trust me, it's only heightened when you play it. And if you haven't played it or you're not scared of the song on its own, I urge you to play it because honestly, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about, and it takes on so much more meaning. Trust me. Number 8, much like the Scissor Man Chase, is more about driving tension. And this song is from a game that I'm not even a fan of, Left 4 Dead. Why I'm not a fan of this game is another story entirely, but regardless, this great piece of orchestral terror is one by the name of Witch. The atonal scales in this song are very predominant here, and it's also very reminiscent of the Twilight Zone theme, combined with soprano choirs and heavy orchestral pounding. And not to mention a fast-paced triplet feel to accompany and intertwine with the common timed 4/4 bars. What's really great about this song though is not just by the compositional elements and the use of arpeggios, but also the way that the game progresses the song depending on where the player is on screen is pretty fucking smart. When the player is near a witch, it's pretty chilling. But then when the player is seen by a witch, that is when shit gets real. Now, when it comes to Pokemon, I'm not the biggest fan, I must admit, and I've only played a few of the games. But out of the few that I have played, I can kind of understand why the typical choice for this list would be Lavender Town. But for me, I never really found it scary. Off-centered and off-putting from the rest of the game, sure, but creepy? Not for me. But one particular track from Pokemon Ruby, simply titled Drought, takes the cake for me. There's plenty of harsh and grating harmonic dissonance, and it never amounts to anything. It just loops and constantly loops, getting gradually more uncomfortable as more layers and more disjointed notes and beats are thrown into the mix to create a truly stomach-churning piece of music. Aha! Now we're at number 6. Now, if you guys have seen my Rayman 3D Tinker Time, then you will know that my opinions towards Rayman 2 is that it's an okay game. It's really, really easy to finish 100%, the combat is really laughably easy in places, and it's far too forgiving on health and checkpoints. But the presentation is fantastic, the control is great, and that soundtrack, sublime. But the track that I'm talking about today is The Tomb of the Ancients. And this song is so out of place from the rest of the game that it makes it so much more shocking as a result. I mean, even the Cave of Bad Dreams isn't as dark as this. We have some stringed instruments distortedly waving the piece along, which are then accompanied by seemingly random and horrific jarring motifs from all sorts of instruments, like string glissandos and crashing drums and even that evil fucking piano. It creates a perfect sense of atmospheric danger, tenseness and uneasiness for the whole game, and it's great. Sonic CD. a great game, a happy game. Unless, of course, you live in the USA. In which case, when you get to the boss battles, you will regret everything you've ever done in your life. In Europe and Japan, the boss battle music is fast-paced, encouraging, and groovy. It really is driving behind you and it's cheering you on as you try your hardest to defeat the many machines of Dr. Robotnik. But in the USA, it further cements the fact that you have no chance at all. You will lose. You will die. This track is officially known as the Sonic CD US boss battle music, but I've decided to name it Fun is Infinite. Why? Search it up. But regardless, few words can describe this song other than completely and utterly hellish. The chromatic scales and diatonic nonsense are made even more fucking horrific than when you see the secret hidden message in the sound test menu. I won't tell you how to get to it right now because there are plenty of other videos that cover that. But regardless, I'm now going to show you the song with the picture, with the secret message. Good luck. But by the way, yes, it is the US version only. Shit can really start getting real. We're on one of my favourite PS1 games and horror games in general ever made, Silent Hill. Now, in terms of this list, Silent Hill was very fucking tricky because there are tons of scary tracks in every single Silent Hill game, but one in particular really stood out to me, called My Heaven. Sounds peaceful and serene, doesn't it? It really isn't. It's a juxtaposition to end all juxtapositions. And to be honest, it's just so distressing and so unpleasant that I couldn't not put it at number 4. And combining it with all of the devilish and horrible images in the game truly makes my blood curl. It isn't even a song in the traditional sense, and more just a series of menacing static noises and heavy, forceful and highly percussive blows to the soul. And the dynamics of the song truly claw and dig and drive at you and pushes the terror and helplessness further into you the louder it gets. It matches the mood perfectly for one of the most forbidding games in history, and it makes me fucking shiver. If this is their heaven, I honestly don't want to know their hell. Now we can really start hitting home here. This next song is infamous. Not much needs to be said, really. It's like a beating and withering pulse that has tried to smother and kill all that have tried to face it. For nearly 20 years, it's haunted gamers everywhere. Not just because of the track, but because of the imagery, the symbolism, and the entire game's impact as a whole. Many people may be very pissed off I didn't put this at number 1, but it's the Geiger's battle theme from Earthbound/Mother 2. Ladies and gentlemen, you can thank me for the nightmares later.
2 shocked me so much that I had to stick it on number 2 just because of how unexpected it was. We're back on the happy little land of Nintendo, where sometimes some truly petrifying things seem to fall through the cracks. Case in point, River Twig's Bed from Super Paper Mario. You thought My Heaven wasn't even a song? Well, I bid you welcome to this gorgeous little piece of insanity. This is just a load of fucking noise, with a vague backing track and some slight distorted and reversed talking to accompany it. There's no real cadences, no melody, no time signature, no structure. It's just an onslaught of unharmonic, atonal death. Jesus Christ. It's just alarming, it's disorganized, it's chaotic, and it's terrifying. And finally, my all-time favourite scariest song in all video games may not even be considered as scary as the others preceding it, and to you guys, it might mean absolutely nothing. But to me, this song scarred me from the inside and affected my childhood so much that when I first heard it, I threw down the controller and didn't play the game again for days. I'm talking, of course, about the mansion basement theme from Resident Evil 1. Not the DualShock Director's Cut version, no, because that version is just hilarious. No. This theme is just fucking horrible. If the daunting strings and all of their slightly ascending, grating and highly intimidating chord progressions were on their own, that would be scary enough. But then, the most startling noise I've ever heard in my entire life decides to rear its ugly face. I don't know what sound it is, I don't know what instrument it is, I don't know what the fucking effect is. It's just baleful evil. It adds so much more depth and threat to both the situation of the game and the area that you're standing in, and nearly everyone I've witnessed who hears this song at this part of the game all of a sudden gets cold feet. And it did that to me. So much so that I didn't play it for a few days after I heard it. Again, that was me, as a kid. But regardless, it still resonates with me to this day. It's ominous, it's aggressive, it's intimidating, and it's only part of what made the original Resident Evil games that much more special, and that much more horrifying. And there you have it, my top 10 favourite scariest tracks in all video gamedom. Yeah. However, even though I adore music, and I even studied it with full A's in college, I feel like that we need a true musical maestro and complete genius to take the stage here and share his or her personal opinion.
Caddy, I can do it.
Youngtown?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
You want to share?
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Get on with it then.
Okay.
Alright then.
Awesome.
My entry comes from Second Sight, another underrated game with a compelling narrative and a suspenseful soundtrack. The song I've picked is titled Isolation, and honestly, I can't think of a better way to describe it. It contains environmental ambiances such as the trickling of water and something that sounds like heavy doors of a prison cell shutting. A piano is performed to simulate dripping water, potentially making the listener feel anxious. There's also a call and response between the melodic piano piece and the eerie choir. All of these elements come together to generate an uneasy feeling that complements Second Sight's narrative all too well.
Well, thank you, Luke. That was certainly uplifting. And inevitably, your scary songs are going to be so much more different from my scary songs, so please, in the comments, share what songs scare you. But until next time, if it's your birthday today or watching this video, then happy frickin' birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful. And for goodness sake, have an amazing Halloween. Bennett. You know what? Those top 10 scary songs were simply too spooky for me. Honestly, I think that the best thing to do at this point is just sleep on it. And then, before I know it, Halloween will be over, nightmares will end, and then I can get on with Bonfire Night. And maybe, just maybe, make another video like last year around Bonfire Night, which has nothing to do with Bonfire Night. I love Bonfire Night. Bonfire, pretty explosions, bonbons, bonfire. I like bonbons and sausages. Oh god. Oh god. I need to play something happy. I need to play something happy now. Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not a game deserves to be slaughtered or salvaged.
So, this is a game based on the Smurfs. I never watched the Smurfs.
And as far as I understand, there have been a lavish abundance of Smurf games all the way back from the Atari and ColecoVision years up until today. And this game here, it's a perfect example of one of those games that was birthed from someone's wretched bowel of an imagination back in 2001.
Oh wait, I did watch it, I think. No, how about this? Does this count? I watched this definitely. Well, what was it? Was it the Sporks? And this game was just so good that it didn't even warrant its own Wikipedia page. And it was also one of the only games in the world that official UK PlayStation magazine gave a fuck off and die out of 10. So basically, I'm keeping the Halloween tradition flowing a little bit longer into November because this is some terrifying shit right here.
To say that I'm excited to play this is the understatement of the century. Right next to the Black Knight from Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
'Tis but a scratch.
Anyway, as we're getting into this, it's worth saying that in the UK and Europe, this game, Smurf Racer, was actually renamed to 321 DERP. And despite all the negative reception this game garnered, I'm not too sure about it, to be honest. In the UK, at least, it was published by Infogrames under the same collection series that Bugs Bunny Lost in Time was under. All your cartoon favourites. You couldn't be any less catchy or quirky with that title, could you? And also, in the title, it's clear the game is stating that this is my first racing game, and it's suitable for kids from 4 years old upwards. I mean, for a game that's based for kids that young, why all the bashing? I know I've done many a kid's game in my time and shat all over them, but this clearly states on the box that this is made for younger audiences.
I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt and judge it nice, fairly, and unbiased because I never watched the show as a kid, and I play.
The game opens to a very cute cartoon intro, and then all of a sudden it just gives up. It ends. Stops. I love it. And clearly, I speak perfect English, so let's go ahead and pick it.
English!
And now the game just said fuck it, and it's now in a widescreen crop. Okay.
Hello, I'm Brainy. Pleased to meet you. I'll be with you right through the game.
Oh no. 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 That's not fair. You can't do... I don't want him to... No!
And by the by, just so you know, FYI, he narrates everything. Everything! Absolutely everything! Every time you move the cursor, every time you highlight something, every single time you do anything, this obnoxious up-his-own-arse voice feels like explaining every single solitary thing that you do.
Start the game, King's status. Change the game configuration.
And if you couldn't tell, it gets annoying insanely fast. I'm just gonna pick expert because I'm a boss. And then there's a good variety of characters to pick from. Not that I know who any of them are, but still, good variety. 3, 2, 1, derp, my hat goes straight off to you. And then it goes back on. Also, it's surprisingly hilarious to bleep out all of the Smurfs in every sentence that Brainy spurts out.
He's a superb driver and uses magic to his opponents. Very clever with his hands. Just see what he can together with a few nails. He uses heavy artillery to his more reckless opponents to a halt.
And I think I'm gonna pick Harmony Smurf because I love music and I love the whole violin cart thing he's got going. It's very cute.
Now you must smurf where you would...
Okay, shut up!
And before we kick off with our first ever race, I think it's very important to note that you can actually get a first-person overview of the track that you want to race before starting. I like that idea. It's very adaptable and very comforting, and it eases you in very well, especially for kids. Stuff like this, you know, it just...
Smurf them round the bend!
And let's get ready for our first ever race, everyone. I'm pretty excited, I have to say.
3, 2, 1, Smurf!
Wow! And we're off, apparently. So first off, I think I'm gonna have to talk about the control, which are the fundamentals to any kart racer. And the control is really good, actually. Believe it or not, it's highly responsive, extremely springy and bouncy, and the turning is so tight and perfect. Zipping around the tracks is ungodly enjoyable solely down to the control, and it's accompanied also by the gameplay, which is quaint. It's pretty standard, to be honest. I mean, everyone gets offensive and defensive weapons. You get to pick up ammo on your offensive firework things, and specialized dropping defenses are in limited barrels around the track to be used one at a time. And I say specialized because whoever you picked at the start to race with gets a character-specific dropping defense item. So I get to use musical notes because obvs. However, specialized is kind of a stretch, mainly because there are no variables to this. Nothing is different or changed whoever you choose to race as. There are no stats anywhere. The performance, handling, everything, it's all exactly the same. Essentially, each Smurf is simply a different skin on exactly the same kart. And yes, I know this game is for a stupid little kid, but every single character in any kart racer needs to have differing stats and abilities, or just have the kart differ somehow, or anything. If children are going into this, they need to learn that they can't master every rudimentary thing about the game when every single character does exactly the same thing. If Mario Kart can offer multiple kart stats to see what works and adapts with different kids' gaming styles, why can't the Smurfs? Yeah, I think I just answered my own question there. I think the game got a little bit confused there. Oh, and as it turns out, not only are all the carts exactly the same, but the weapons also do fuck all. When you use them to anyone at any point, literally nothing happens. You get locked into a straight line when you get hit for sure, but you don't even slow down. What's the point? You just keep on your jolly old merry way unless there's a wall dead in front of you, which happens rarely when you get hit. And sometimes they don't even fucking work at all. Look at this.
Who even did this? Who even did this? Who even?
Well, I suppose it can compensate that maybe by looking very pretty for the first stage. Yeah, you heard me. The first stage, and the simplest stage, mind you, has the most detail, most colors, and the most amount of different little things going on in the background. Every other stage is a cookie-cutter bore fest, and there are no colors that stand out or contrast, and there's no vibrance. It's all just so lifeless and dull. It's almost like they developed stage 1 and just thought, ah, fuck it, no one's actually gonna keep playing, are they? There's no character in any of the stages, or even any of the characters, actually. They all have the same stock animations, and none of them even talk to each other. Not to mention, most of them just look completely out of it. Hey, Smurfette. Hey, you alright, my friend? You okay, buddy? You sure? Sure, you Smurfettes, you don't wanna Burger King? God, you know what? It just hit me. Why the hell am I playing a Smurfs game anyway?
Hey, James!
Oh, Christ, not you again.
Ah, don't be such a ninny. What you playing?
It is none of your concern.
It so totally is. Let's see.
No, don't look at it.
Oh, Lord. Is that 3, 2, 1... Smurf?
No, of course it isn't. Now go away.
You know that I like that word.
No bollocks.
Smurf!
Not again.
Smurf! Smurf! No! Smurf! Smurf! No! Well, that wasn't very nice.
I hate you!
And I know that this is aimed specifically at children, but for goodness sakes, it doesn't actually teach anything deeper to kids about kart racing other than learn the track so you can go around it faster. I mean, the weapons do nothing, the characters and tracks are more or less all identical, even the boss battles have nothing special or worth unlocking, and that's another key word for this game. Worth. Reward. And when everything is exactly the same and your game's incentive ceases to be there, then there's no point continuing. It's not going to engage little kids, is it? Like I said earlier, there also isn't any competitive talking or actions from any of the characters, and that's one of the main things in a kart race that makes it stand out. Cartoony antics. These are Smurfs, and they have no cartoony antics in this game. It's just simply wrong. And you know what else is wrong? The level design. Like I said, every track feels exactly the same, cut out and glued fucking everywhere. There are no shortcuts anywhere for kids to find, and there aren't even any distinctive features of any of the races to remember them by. Most of them are just completely lazy and soulless. And sometimes they're even really confusing. Oh, where exactly do I go now? And talking about being, that's exactly what this music's like. To be honest, it isn't actually that bad, maybe even the best thing in this game next to the controls, but at the same time, like the levels, there's nothing memorable in them and there's no lifetime appeal. It merely exists for the sake of existing.
So, where are we going now?
The Haunted Mansion.
I'm sorry, the where?
The Haunted Mansion.
The Haunted Mansion!
Not to mention, due to the blandness and unreplayability of every single stage, this game is as short as all hell. Considering the lack of anything properly engaging, especially for kids, you kind of naturally breeze through every single stage like you were playing it in the womb. I even recorded myself playing one stage and actually got so bored I completely switched off. Not even joking, this was not meant to happen. I had a bit of commentary thrown in there and everything, but it just sucked all of the fun out of me like a fucking sponge. Rule 1 for kids games, keep them engaging. Also, on a side note, difficulty levels do nothing. Expert mode gives you a time limit to reach a checkpoint, and easy doesn't. In expert mode, the game is just saying, you better not crash into the walls or you won't make it in time. Which is really stupid, because even if you do crash in easy, you won't win the race anyway. Again, it teaches kids nothing. It adds nothing.
Game elongation!
And speaking of game elongation, due to everything this game is lacking in, even the additional 2-player mode isn't any fun at all. Power-ups that don't work in a competitive multiplayer kart racer is just completely pointless. And even saying that 2 power-ups is simply not enough. And speaking of everything else, why does this fucking aspect ratio keep changing? It's really pissing me off. It's not fucking IMAX, it's just annoying Max, am I right?
Okay, well, despite all of the shitting on this game that has commenced through this entire video, believe it or not, this is not one of the worst games I've ever played in my life, especially when compared to stuff like fucking Rascal Racers. In terms of kart racing games, you can do much worse than this, and I really don't understand the 1 out of 10 rating that official UK PlayStation Magazine gave it, especially for a game aimed solely at kids. But if I had kids, would I let them play it? No. There are plenty of other good car racing games out there that teach bucket loads more for kids and just look better, sound better, play better, and are just generally better games. And when you consider that this was made in 2001, yeah, how many years after Diddy Kong Racing, Mario Kart 64 and Crash Team Racing? This just feels completely and utterly pointless. And that is why this game gets the slaughter. You know what? Fuck it. Just I've completely wasted my time, haven't I? What the bloody hell am I doing? Why am I even playing a kiddie fucking Smurf game anyway? What am I doing? I mean, Christ almighty, what's the point, you know? I mean, why? What a waste of my life. I'm so sorry. I never meant to waste your time, okay? I really didn't. That's not... I'm so sorry. Okay? I thought that this would be a bit of fun. I really did. But no. Fucking hell. What a pointless and snooze-inducing squander of precious human air. Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people. I'm in love with this shirt. I am now back from my break, and if there's one thing that I've learned from my time away, it's that no one making videos on their own channels are allowed to have a little bit of fun anymore. Dear, that's not good, is it? But that doesn't matter because Christmas is fast approaching and the more charitable and caring side of me is beginning to surface.
Spare a crisp, sir? Spare a crisp?
I don't know, they do taste very good.
Please, sir?
No.
Spare a crisp?
I just said no.
But sir, I only want a crisp.
And so, to act on this truly joyous and festive feeling I'm having right now, I figured that I'd take some time to share some truly unbelievable, independently made levels in a game that's based entirely around imagination and creativity. And that game is LittleBigPlanet 2. Yeah.
LittleBigPlanet is the tits. No, not those tits. You know, the ones. There you go. Anyway, LittleBigPlanet was a breath of fresh air for PS3 users back in 2008, giving everyone great old school platforming in creative puzzles with sweet gadgets and the chance for anyone and everyone to make their own entire levels from scratch with the thousands of tools and templates that were unlocked throughout the story. And then, out of everyone's disbelief, the geniuses behind that game at Media Molecule then made a second one. Anyone would think that it would be a copy and paste situation that would feel more like DLC than an entirely new game, but fucking lord, you would be mistaken. LittleBigPlanet 2 more than doubled everything that the first one offered. Literally. Look at how much more was added. That's a lot. It looked like another standard subpar platformer from first glance, but strip away the child-friendly and sweetly innocent exterior, and you have one of the most creative, ambitious, and complex games ever made, with Stephen Fry fucking teaching you how to play it. Like in the first game, you could still make your own levels, except while the interface and the ideas and the tools remained more or less the same, thousands of more options were added, and much more complex levels could be produced by LittleBigPlanet 2. Most of these levels can be a standard platforming jolly romp, others can be an unprofessional and empty disappointment, and others can push the fucking boundaries of imagination and creativity, and truly make even the most veteran creators scratch their heads in complete awe of what some people can accomplish completely on their own with no budget, lots of time, care, and with a limited interface. Hell, despite the fact that this is a puzzle platformer, most of the custom levels that I picked twist and manipulate the platforming mechanics into unorthodox and complex systems such as navigatable menus, save states, HUDs, and real-time maps, which can then be implemented into space shooters, racing games, RPG, strategy simulators, and fuck knows what else. How people work this shit out honestly astounds me. And that is what I call fucking mind-blowing creativity, and these more complex ideas are things that are only possible in this glorious sequel over the original.
I initially wanted to do my top 10 worst LittleBigPlanet 2 community levels, but then I just felt like a fucking jerk about it. And I can't really judge on that at all because I did try my hand at some custom levels in LittleBigPlanet 1 when I was 15, and they were fucking shit, so I can't comment on that at all. And so instead of doing that, I thought I'd promote creativity, and I thought I would do my top 10 favourite community LittleBigPlanet 2 levels. And so after the hours of research, hours of searching, hours upon playing countless amounts and stupid amounts of these levels, out of the 8 million of them, I think I've narrowed it down to my good favourite 10, I think. By the way, 1 level per creator, otherwise there's gonna be too many levels by one guy. If there were any levels made in the first LittleBigPlanet, I'm gonna pick the most updated reincarnation of it in LittleBigPlanet 2, or at least I'll try to anyway, some of them don't. But you know what? They're on LittleBigPlanet 2, so that's good. So enjoy, I think.
You know when something is just so bad, it's brilliant? Pure genius? Movies like Dungeons & Dragons, The Room, Yellowbeard... I'm not sure about Birdemic, that's just fucking shit. But you know what I mean? Well, this is one of those cases. I'm not putting her at number 10 because she's my sister, but I urge you, look for Rosie the Smurf, and when you do, witness the splendor of the My First Friend series. Yes. Series. She made more than one of them. And if you want to see the inner workings of a 13-year-old Rosie going on to her current age of 17 with appalling grammar, nonsensical events, betrayal, lust, greed, crime, emptiness, terribly made staircases, and this thing stalking you, then look no further. I can't say much about My First Friend other than...
Daddy, I'm scared. How do we turn this off?
So do yourself a good favor and, actually, so sorry, this is bullshit. Never play these. Ever. In fact, burn your copy of LittleBigPlanet 2 right now to stop anyone from ever playing them. He'll come for you. He'll find you. He always does. He's so hungry. He just won't stop. If we have to incinerate every copy of this game between here and St. Mary's Church in the hollow of the White Hazel near the rapid whirlpool of Lanticilio of the Red Cave, then by God we shall never rest because he'll get you! Yes! Oh, he does! He always does! His day of reckoning is always his. So in all seriousness, why not just forget everything that I just said and play Sacro Machine's Championship made by Splatmy. This user is amazing at making fun multiplayer kart races and still is making more tracks to this insanely fun series as much as he or she can. It's very nostalgic, it's very fast-paced, it's very addicting, very charmingly designed, and great fun. At number 9 is a level known as Wish, made by Ricky Air. This is the first more traditional LittleBigPlanet custom platformer that I'll be talking about today, and much like my voice right now, it's unbelievably relaxing. It does a fantastic job of transporting you to an above-the-ground universe filled with tranquil colours, flowing and descending heavenly waters, imaginative platforming detail, and mystical clouded pillars. Also, the use of the cinematography tools are used simply but to brilliant effect, reacting in real time to whatever switches you pull and making you feel like you are making an impact on the world, which in turn makes this level almost alive and breathing. It's short, yes, and not too hard at all, but very sweet. And when it gets to the underground sections, the level certainly manifests itself into a wish come true. Number 8 then throws all the pansy shit out the window and lets you blow everything. And that level is known as Maximum Carnage by Foofles. Well, this one is a pretty self-explanatory twin-stick shooter, which means using the right stick to shoot and the left stick to drive. Using a manipulated top-down view and a vehicle manipulated with projectile firing, and then mixing that in with space station-esque settings, allowing you to demolish absolutely everything attacking you, means that this almost pans out like a top-down and 7 years plus version of Doom. For the children. And when you consider that this has a maneuvering stats display, specialized power-ups, and hugely specific, tightly tuned shooting throughout this lengthy and extremely fun stage, you wonder just how someone came up with all this stuff from something that started with just running left to right. Pretty damn impressive. Number 7 honestly made me double take. This is Galactic-based defense made by a person called Urban Devil with 2 L's, who was also responsible for the currently in progress epic-looking LittleBigPlanet RPG known as Omicron Neon City. But since that isn't finished yet, as fucking impressive as it is, I can't put it here. Once it's done, consider that in the top 3. But until then, marvel at this ingeniously made tower defense game that allows you to trade and earn your typical score bubble points for guns, lasers, flamethrowers, and all sorts while you protect any given base from an onslaught of enemies. This is nothing new and all over Flash games on the internet, yes, but to accomplish this from LittleBigPlanet is incredible. Not to mention it works perfectly, is hugely addicting, and is all around just a greatly made custom level, allowing you to spend too long on something that was simply meant as an experimental level creation technique. Relish in it. Yeah. Number 6 is back on traditional platforming lane for something pretty fresh and fantastically fun, taking advantage of the tilting motion controls with the DualShock 3 and messing around with all the gadgets that we love so dearly. This is Full Metal Tilt by R2-D2. This level is very much like the furnace from Metal Gear Solid, so it's a fucking good start already, I should say. Sci-fi themes are a big seller for me anyway, but the absolutely immaculate attention to detail here is what makes this level stand out. Not only are the puzzles beautifully constructed, themed, and integrated into the space station theme, but the environment is gorgeously detailed to every last degree, stemming a lot into the vibrant lava colors to accompany the cold steel colors. And that lighting is beautiful. Oh my goodness. I think I peed a little. But not only do the visuals and design take the cake here, but also the actual gameplay within the level. Varied, fun, challenging, and with the same quality that you'd initially expect from the guys who made the game themselves. And that's why this kicks ass. That's why these things exist, right? To surprise you? I'm pretty surprised, I must say, so I guess I'm right. Number 5 is another mind-blowing thing known simply as Contrast, made by Alastair26. It has its own title sequence. It has its own menu. It has its own fucking loading screen, and it even allows you to save the game within the game. How? That alone is enough to grant it passage into my favorite top 5, but then we get to see what this is actually all about. And this is based on those cool indie flash games from days gone by in which you have to solve puzzles, push switches, avoid obstacles, and flip it between negative dimensions to continue. Like most of these levels, yes, it sounds like nothing too original, but then you remember that for the LittleBigPlanet 2 creation tools, this is unbelievably impressive, and I have no fucking idea at all how this could have even started to be executed, let alone by just maybe the one person making it. Not to mention it gives you 30 levels of platform puzzle greatness, throwing in new mechanics to spice things up, keeping its irresistible LittleBigPlanet charm, while simultaneously making you wonder how on earth this was pulled off in the first place. Number 4 is honestly one of the most fucking amazing things I've ever seen in my life. Yes, you are seeing this right now. I'm not playing a hack, or a hoax, or a HD widescreen 720 1080 version of Zelda. I'm playing an entirely remade to every last detail, glorious LittleBigPlanet 2 tribute to the first dungeon of the original Zelda, complete with the right music and all. When? What? How? Who? Actually, I know who. Blue Tunberry. Classic Zelda 1-1. If you've never played LittleBigPlanet before, you're probably wondering why I'm so excited over this, but if you have played LittleBigPlanet before, then you'll understand why this is one of the most impressive and creative things I have ever witnessed. Everything is right. The attack, controls, enemies, pause menu with equipable items, external HUD game mechanics, and real-time map mixed into the original game HUD, the fact that you can fire your sword at full health, the details, it's just, my god! When I searched this up, I did not see this coming, and it actually shocked me how precise it was, and that is why Caddy decided to put a 1986 video game repackage onto number 4 of his LittleBigPlanet 2 countdown. Thank you very much, and fuck off. Number 3 is another one of those there space shooting, twin sticky stubble awkward. Damn, my thumbs fell off. And it's known as Blast Radius, made by Johnny. This here is another standard twin stick shooter, but in space. And what makes it stand out apart from all the others is just, well, look at it. It's absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. This creator could have taken an easy backseat with this game and just made a load of white dots and a black background, throw things at you with a still camera angle and call it a space shooter, taking the Action 52 route a little bit. But this here I can't even begin to describe, so I won't. JK. As you can see, it has its own menu. Awesome. And this is highly detailed, highly challenging, highly animated in the foreground and background, highly tuned to perfection in regards to control, highly explosive, and just all-round highly high amazing space shooting. Every nudge to your ship, every shot and explosion you land, it's all pushed right forward into your face as you experience slight motion blur, shaky cam action, flashing lights, loud driving noises, and this game really deserves to be its own thing. Why not? I'd buy it. It's as addicting and satisfying to play as it is beautiful and marvelous to look at, and this user is a highly experienced LittleBigPlanet 2 crafter as it is anyway, so someone sign this guy up for something. If he can make a great space shooter with these limitations and manipulations to the platforming the level creator is made for, then good God, I'd love to see what else he could do. So I beggeth you, if thy worketh in thou humble game developer management, considereth this of maneth foreth futureth thy thou hist full of time jobbeth. Okay. Lockstitch, I don't know quite what it is that you did to me exactly, for when you made your level known as Vile Anchorage, little did you know that you would have captivated and entranced me from start to finish. Why is this? I'm honestly not that sure. It's a standard, traditional LittleBigPlanet platformer that could have been made in the first one, I think it actually was, but it could have been made in the first one over the second one, but good lord, I can't even put my finger on it. The atmosphere here is as thick as Heinz Big Soup with chicken and bacon, and that's pretty fucking thick. And where the platforming and entire concept is brilliantly realized and executed, the atmosphere alone just made me fall in love with this level. It completely zoned me out into its own unique and beautiful surroundings, and it grabbed me from the second that I started it. I didn't want it to end. Almost like those great movies that just suck you out of reality, an escapist fantasy, if only for a limited time, but still worth every second that you're engulfed by it. Yeah, I found it that good. For me, it just ticked all the right boxes and sets the bar for any future classic custom LittleBigPlanet 2 community platformers. You might not agree with me at all, but Vile Anchorage, I love you. But I can't have any physical relationships with an in-game community level, so I think I'm just gonna buy you a drink.
But before we get to number 1, it's been insanely difficult to narrow this down to just 10. So here are just a few, not all of them, but just a few good, awesome, honourable mentions.
And finally, my number 1 favourite LittleBigPlanet 2 level is one called The Fist of Craft Earth by Gavura22. This level is so fresh, so creative, and so deviously perfect that I reckon it could have been its own fucking standalone game on the shelf. When you play this level, you completely forget you're playing LittleBigPlanet 2. Instead, you're taken into a badass top-down beat-em-up universe with an unparalleled cinematic style, fucking voiceovers, cutscenes, and more depth in this one level than even some blockbuster games on the market today, as far as LittleBigPlanet 2 goes anyway. This genre that the user tackled is one that's so hard to get right, and he or she got it bang on in an optional, customly made, no budget, interface manipulated, unorthodoxly created, against platforming fan level. It's mind-boggling how this experiment works so well, but it seriously does. This has combos, it has special moves, it has luscious visuals, it has boss battles, it has perfect control, it has multiple parts, and it's one thing that any budding creator should aspire to. I don't want to know how complex and time-consuming this could have been for anyone involved, and I won't say anything more about this level other than just play it right now. Right fucking now. Trust me, it's real good.
And there you have it, my top 10 favourite LittleBigPlanet 2 community levels. I hope you really enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, and as always, thanks so much for watching, even if you know nothing about LittleBigPlanet. If I have missed some truly great levels out there, then please talk about them in the comments, and if I haven't, then don't. If it's your birthday today while watching this video, then happy frickin' birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful.
I just can't wait for Christmas.
Last Christmas, Caddy played a delectable treat, a game that made him shiver from his head to his feet. The game was Santa Claus Saves the Earth, a PS1 game he felt was of no worth. This game was so wretched, foul and diseased that the PS1 got infected and left Caddy displeased. A sad departure followed, and then after a year, he heard a sound call him. And it was all too clear. So off he set to where the console was forsaken.
This journey is tiresome, but thank fuck for this bacon.
He found the lone system neglected in the sand.
But where's the bullet hole?
Asked Caddy.
I don't get it.
We're rhyming, you twat.
I mean, I don't quite understand.
fucking idiot. When he returned to his home, he then met with a surprise, for another Christmas-themed game was in front of his eyes.
Well, in light of the season, I'm not gonna flinch, so I'm just gonna stick by my guns and play through the Grinch. I should write a fucking book or something. Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people. Here is the church, and here is the steeple. Okay, I can't rhyme everything in the world, which blows a little bit, but regardless, that's not going to stop us from having another festive Christmas with another obscure PS1 game, is it? I mean, after all, I do need a game to slaughter or salvage. And after all, it's Christmas! Yep, it's that time of year again, and if you live in Britain, there's no fucking snow anywhere. So how do we make a good old-fashioned UK Christmas even more festive? By, obviously, reviewing a Dr. Seuss-themed game entirely in rhyme. I mean, how else would you do the man justice? Some of you may say this kind of steals Doug Walker's idea a little bit with his Grinch movie review, but you know what? Fuck it. I think I should start this off by stating that this certain game received many a mixed rating. When I bought it, it wasn't common and not actually that cheap, so I'll either come out satisfied or uncontrollably weep. Also, this concept sounds really fucking lame. How exactly can you turn this into a game? You'd think that the publishers were completely fucking balmy, but then you stop and realise it was published by Konami. Well, I do have to say, that's a little bit ruddy weird. How can you go from MGS to him with the green beard? It was also developed by the company AMM, who also made Bugs Bunny Lost in Time, so I really fucking love them. Everything seems promising, and I'm fairly intrigued. But let's just play the game because I'm getting fatigued. At first it looks okay and appears pretty clean. That is until snot and puke then smother the screen. But then we get a cutscene and it's actually quite funny. The visuals and sound are just as sweet as honey.
I have a great idea. This year, the Who's will pay.
Beautiful. I must say that I love how the voices are this cheesy, but the way that Max just stares at you makes me feel rather queasy. And didn't Max have a voice? I remember to an inch. The last time he said, "The care and feeding of a Grinch." So from this opening alone, I'll say it's okay, and pay attention folks, because that's our key word today. Then there's a tutorial, and it teaches everything well, and it reminds me of something, but what? I can't tell. This game seems very basic and a little too soft, but hey, the Grinch does do a great Lara Croft. And I hope you know the Grinch, because this story's never explained, but I suppose you don't care, you just want to be entertained. You can explore the Grinch lair, and, well, I never. I think I just found the best damage sound ever.
Ouch! 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 Ouch!
Okay, now I'm bored, so let's start the first level. And straight away, I'm attacked by something worse than the devil. These kids will fucking grab you, and I kid you not. This is something here that happens a lot.
Hey! 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 Hey!
What's worse is that you can't hurt them. Trust me, I tried. So you just have to take these little shits in your stride. Well, anyway, that was not a great start, but I'll carry on because I have a lovely heart. And just like me right now, the narrator speaks in rhyme. You know, for a Dr. Seuss game, it's about fucking time.
One important task is breaking holiday gifts. Just thinking of this deed, the Grinch spirit lifts.
Okay, so going by that, I figured out the aim. This is basically How to Be a Dick, the video game. And for a Christmas-themed game, being an asshole is bizarre. 'Tis the season to be jolly. La 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 la. As far as gameplay is concerned, it's a standard action platformer, but there's more than meets the eye here, just like a transformer. Different goals need different things that are hidden in the stage, and how you acquire these things can often induce rage. You'll have to solve a puzzle, pass a boss, or do some jumps, but occasionally these tasks give your skin some angry lumps. Then once you've solved all that, you're ready to tackle a mission, and there's even a little book to help you with your position. And then on top of that, there's the main plot, finding tools. The Grinch has lost them all around town. What a fucking fool. And when the blueprints are complete, the gadgets are quite fun. And while this sounds fantastic, I'm not quite done. Yes, it's comprehensive, lengthy, and deep, but through this, the game's problems begin to peep. Sometimes these goals are too easy and tedious to play. This mixes with the good stuff and leaves it being okay. Even though it can be fun and there is a lot to do, there's no interesting twist, and it can be boring too. This is highlighted with the fact that 8 times out of 10, you'll be doing this to presents. Again and again! And poor old Grinchy, he never gets his kicks. Everyone hates him and the locals are pricks. Even though this hostility is quite a cool idea, your health is as compact as shitted diarrhea. No matter how much you're hit, you will never drop dead. This takes away the challenge and makes it pointless instead. Now, before I ramble on and lead you astray, I have to say the visuals are, again, okay. The models are great and the detail is nice, and with the low poly trick, they took Spyro's advice. However, this is good, but there's one fact I missed, and that is that this fucking thing here should not exist! Also, some areas look exactly the same, and all that does is just add to the shame. It blends with the gameplay and makes things slower, chugging along like a battered lawnmower. The gameplay isn't awful, I can only just say that much like the rest, it's, you guessed it, okay. It can be fun and rewarding, and the gadgets up the pace.
Another one! Another one! Another one! Another one!
But now I just want to shoot myself in the face.
The level design's decent and not too risque, but now we mention the puzzles, which are okay. Some are easy, some are hard, but they're also fucking long. And here's the thing I think is majorly wrong. To compensate the level count, the missions are elongated, and that's one of the things that I truly bloody hated. Also, there's no feeling quite like this crap when I ended up fucking stuck in a beginner's trap. But the puzzles themselves aren't bad, they require lots of thought, and the difficulty ranges from 10 to 0. They just take so much time, and believe it when I say, the puzzles in this game are, yet again, okay. The same can be said for the musical score, which often swept me straight off of the floor. It can be catchy and foreboding, but at the same time, it can also be forgettable and not so sublime.
So far, all this combined is just so okay, I can't say much more. Hippity fucking Ray.
Hey look, the annoying enemy shit returns in level 2, and this certain damage voice is enough to make me spew. Stop! But hey, here are some glitches, that can lighten things. But as funny as they are, annoyance it also brings. It makes some parts impossible despite the fun control. It then takes the enjoyment and buries it in a hole. But if the game wants to cheat, well then so can I. Because Rosie then glitched this section to get by. Yes, I gave up here, it began to piss me off. I'm not a strong man like David the Hoff. Other levels are similar, just with tons more stuff. Some are more fun than others, and the rest are pretty rough. But this here scared me too much, so I had to flick the switch. I was pleasantly walking along here when— son of a bitch! There may be a good load of missions and many a lengthy area, and with all the unlockables, it doesn't quite cause hysteria. Let's not forget all the gadgets and a fair amount of care. But if it wasn't so slow, I'd have no fucking reason to swear. It looks okay and sounds okay, and overall is alright. But one or two things in this just do not feel tight. No matter what it throws at you, it always feels tired, and a little more variety is definitely required. At least it's worth a go, and the voice acting's fucking hilarious.
Who are you? Well, you're
the Grinch! But the package as a whole just feels rather precarious.
This game may not be bad and it may not be great, but there is one thing that we really have to get straight. Santa Claus was so bad it destroyed the PS1, but this game was good enough to receive a DS one. That's terrible. However, that does not excuse the unoriginality, but at least there was effort and a small personality. This game gets the Slavage, I've made up my mind. And compared to this shit here, this game really shined. So in that sense, it's a miracle that this game was okay. There'll be no console shooting or dumping today. I can't tell you how much this pleases me. Everyone comes out happy. The Christmas spirit is strong today. The opposite of crappy. I never thought I'd leave today on a note quite this strong. So you know what I think? I think this calls for a song.
With a thankful heart, with an endless joy.
So that was a game and this was a review, and as for the ending, it's right on cue. So Merry Christmas to all, and there's no need to frown, because I'll shout Merry Christmas to the entire town.
Merry Christmas! Fuck you!
So anyway now, I must bid you adieu. If it's your birthday today, happy frickin' birthday to you. I'll let you all get on now, you're all busy and dutiful. And please, do remember to stay beautiful.
Yes! I did it! I did the review in rhyme! Yeah!
Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people. I'm Caddicarus and I stink of shit. And I'm sure that you don't either, but I was sitting here the other day and I was thinking to myself, you know, whenever a video game video maker on YouTube covers a top 10 of some description, it's usually, when it comes to senses, about the best looking or the best sounding of something. But when it comes to touch, taste, and smell, I suppose, you know, being real and physical senses, I suppose, we can't actually enforce any strong and concrete opinions against the matter because we're talking about a virtual universe. I mean, one day we may be able to breach the barrier between reality and fiction and truly physically feel so much more of the amazing gaming world, but until then, we can only assume right now. And some games are just so damn great with all of their character and set designs, visual, sound design, and game universe lore that we can actually make very vivid connections with all of the characters and properly imagine them sitting in the same room as us. And that's where the thought struck me. Which of these characters in video games stink like shit? And so this list was born. One character per franchise, areas and stages do not count, like the Great Jabu Jabu. The Great Mighty Pooh does not count because he literally is a shit and that's not really that fair. If I'm gonna put his shit in this list, I'm gonna have to put Duke Nukem's shit that he holds in Duke Nukem Forever in this shitty list because that's the same kind of shit. I'm gonna be sticking with people, not animals, that stink of shit. No movie tie-in bullshit because the characters in those games were not originally video game shit stinkers, and they have to really look like they properly stink of shit. Fucking shit.
Number 10 goes to Cole McGrath from Infamous. Not infamous, like an idiot, but infamous. If you like this series a lot, like myself, then I know what you're probably thinking. Cole looks pretty damn spankalicious. Right? Well, no. You're not right. If you haven't played Infamous before, our main man Cole here was acquainted with these lovely electric powers. And that's all you need to know as to why I think he stinks like shit. When I hear people talking about this game and how vibrant and clean looking this city is in most of the more populated and safer areas, there's one thing they tend to forget. If you have electricity literally leaping and bounding through your veins, how in the blazes of Devil's Earth does everybody wash? I mean, think about it. You can't take a shower. Ever. Or a bath. And considering how much running, jumping, and fighting Cole finds himself in, I reckon he's a pretty stinky son of a mother-humping bitch. As most of you probably know, I have a very strong thing with MGS. I mean, I would have got MGS 5, Ground Zeroes, and the Phantom Menace, the Phantom Pain on the PS3, but seriously, one of the main reasons I got the PS4 was to be able to play them at their best possible quality. Most of my console purchases have actually been devoted and due to Metal Gear Solid games being on them, just like MGS 4 on the PS3. But who actually cares about that? Not him. Because I'm talking about shit, aren't I? And I reckon that Johnny Sasaki from most of the installments often finds himself really stinking of shit. Why do I say this? Because I swear to God, he actually shits himself in every game he's in and fucks up any and all missions he's assigned to. Whether it be illness or nerves, he never fails to please. I swear to Christ, even if you search for Johnny Sasaki on Google Images, the 5th image along is literally him with stomach cramps. He has the runs. But he doesn't have them all the time, only on occasion. And that's why he's so high on this list. But when he does have a poo, if you look at all the other characters and how they react, he must really reek. Number 8 is dedicated to one of my favourite horror games ever made, Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth. And like I seem to do a lot on these top 10 lists, this entry is actually a dirty little cheat. Like all of my exes. And there we go, I'm gonna write a song about that and send it to Adele because she knows all too well what I'm talking about. But this entry is a cheat because I picked not 1, not 2, not 6, but every single resident of the quaint fishing town of Innsmouth. Just look at these guys. They live by the ocean, it's a fishing town, it's the early 20th century, the entire town is rotting, the air is thick, murky, and gassy, and, spoiler alert here, the entire town are a satanic cult that worship a demonic fish god, which then means that the townspeople themselves succumb to rituals and hideous transformations in order to become fish people. This is making me feel sick. So out of this, I don't think I have to tell you why the entire population of Innsmouth probably stink like complete shit. Because I think they probably do. And now, this spot goes to a character from one of my favorite games ever made, the original, and if you ask me, the best out of all of them, BioShock. I suppose I could pull another Innsmouth and say that every single resident of the undersea city of Rapture stinks like shit, but I can't keep that as a recurring theme.
However,
what I can say is that even though the psychopathic lunatics doped up on the genetically modifying addicting Adam look like they could use a bath, the cherry on the cake has to be Dr. Steinman. Not only did this guy actually petrify me, and his build-up during the medical pavilion was just fucking perfect, but I also think he probably stinks like shit. Along with the over-obsessive Adam consumption, Dr. Steinman's plastic surgery is also largely responsible for the beautiful makeovers of all the addicts down in Rapture. Being an Adam addict himself, he often saw visions of Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of beauty, who then basically told him to become the Picasso of plastic surgery. Yeah, that is what happened. Art. So as you can imagine, his hospital is gritty and sickening, his medic coats are filthy and grimy, he's plastered the entire hospital in body parts, and he often engages in brutal hands-on murdering of any patient until he's dripping in their blood. He most probably fucking stinks, don't you think? Number 6 goes to...
Good God, what the hell is wrong with your face?
Or I might also say Gob from Fallout 3. Not only is he horrifically mutated from the atomic wars, but I mean, look at him. I can smell him from here. Not to mention, bathing is out of the question as pretty much all the water is disgustingly polluted and high in radiation, so he must have quite a nicky stench on him. I'm sure there are plenty of other people in the Fallout universe that stink worse, like the Brotherhood of Steel fighting under all that heavy armor, but that would be very for me, because I can't help but think that Gob smells the most putrid. I mean, you can even fucking see the innards of his body nearly. Must be pretty smelly. He is, however, a really nice guy. So in the end, that's what being a good person is all about. It makes it all better. To an extent. Number 5 goes to Joel from The Last of Us. I mean, mutant viral apocalypse, no decently safe access to essential supplies like water, not even any time to wash because of these things everywhere. It comes as no shock. This guy must fucking reek. And things weren't so bad for him with living a normal life, washing, cleaning, and house maintenance until the infection actually started spreading. But then once that happened, he probably spent 20 fucking years in the same clothes. No washing, constantly running and fighting, actively moving about through buildings, festering with fleshy growths, oozing with disease and thick with viral spores, and just generally being very mucky. And I mean, why do you think Joel became a recluse for 20 odd years? Because his daughter died and so questions the meaning of life and the point of his mere existence? Almost fighting for absolutely nothing just to fulfill his selfishness to survive and live forever truly alone, almost to prove a point to himself? Feel like he fought and died for something rather than nothing? And gripping onto not only the hope of planet Earth, but the hope of his own heart? Fuck no. It's because he stinks of shit. I've spoken about Nightmare Creatures enough on this channel. You should all know that it's one of my favorite PS1 games, and I think that the main bad guy, Adam Crowley, probably stinks like complete and utter shit. It's 18th century London, it's really fucking dirty and foul on every street corner, Fairy weren't exactly around at this point, and just look at where he works. Look. And if that wasn't enough, what is his work exactly? Experimenting with rancid bodies covered in seeping boils, grave digging and fooling around with the dead, seaming and attaching bodies and parts of other creatures onto each other, and generally being a very messy monkey. Watching this intro sequence as a kid, as well as scare me a fair amount, actually made me physically itch and barf in my mouth a bit. The smell of his underground lab literally oozed out of the TV and into the house, and I swear to God you could actually smell the blood, guts, and shit slowly dropping off the walls in his lair. Gross. But that's good character design for you. Just look at his hair as well. I think if you actually find any picture of him and stroke the hair a little bit, you may actually be able to feel the thick grease in between every single strand. It's a true testament to the story when a game's main antagonist is so vile and stenchy that you probably wouldn't want to even go near him to capture him. Which, if you ask me, is the true essence, no pun intended, of a truly evil villain. His clothes as well look pretty gruesome, like a wearable Petri dish. Number 3, I think, needs absolutely no introduction or explanation. But I'm gonna do it anyway. Seth Briers from Red Dead Redemption. If you're living in the old Wild West, you may be lucky enough to have a bath every so often. Not all the time, but on a good occasion. But when you're an older gentleman, obsessed with wealth and riches so much that you've stopped eating, cleaning teeth, washing your clothes or body for that matter, giving a shit about your own ideals and morals, and decided to invest all of your time into digging up corpses to find treasure maps and other crazy things, you kind of lost the plot a little bit. And you are a very unhygienic man that probably stinks of complete shit. I reckon he actually smells worse than the fucking bodies he's digging up. Think about it. Instead of one repugnant corpse smell on him, he has hundreds of them that have collectively tangled into the fabrics of his clothes and the pores of his damn skin. Stinky, stinky, sleazy man. And if that didn't persuade you enough, one of his greatest quotes is such an awe-inspiring piece of concrete proof as to how smelly he is that I actually shouldn't have even said anything. I hate people. Well, okay, that doesn't really prove anything, but look at his face. Stinks of shit. Number 2 goes to that classic, fan favorite, and utterly lovable character from many editions of The Legend of Zelda. All of you know who I'm talking about, everybody knows him, so there's no need to even say his name. This spot, well-deservedly, goes to...
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
You know, the hand in the toilet. Rank. To say that this guy probably stinks like shit would be the understatement of the century. He actually gets shat on. And he enjoys it. I mean, does he wear it, eat it, build his house from it? How? What? Why? Because he's a creepy and disturbingly wretched little guy who obviously loves shit, otherwise he wouldn't fucking be there. I assume he's a guy anyway. Guys like shit, don't they? Don't kid boys like to play with shit? I don't know. I would have put this fella at number 1 if it weren't for the fact that we actually never see him, only his hand. So all we can do is imagine what his body looks and smells like, which is part of the fun, I guess, but I'm afraid it's nothing concrete, which is not good enough for this list. I mean, he could actually look like Caloran down there or something, never know. I reckon this person stinks like shit so much that you can actually smell her when you pick up the damn box. Which box is it that I'm picking up though? The Resident Evil remake. When it comes to remakes, if you ask me, this is how you fucking do it. And one particular bit that got to me was this added in sequence from the original to further throw me off unexpectedly, disturb me, and terrify me with the increasingly thick backstory of the Arklay Mansion. Not to mention all the grotesquely awful things that happen there. So you're lovingly exploring the lower sections of the very creepy mansion, battling zombies and generally being a badass. But then all of a sudden, you're knocked out. By who? By what? Lisa Trevor. This thing here was experimented on since she was 14 years old. And if that fact alone doesn't make you sick, then maybe the tragic backstory between her and her family on crimsonhead.com/Lisa Trevor will make you sick as well as make you cry. Anyway, Lisa isn't a very happy girlie, as she has been basically experimented, tortured, and genetically fucked and mutated with bioweapon viruses her whole life. She has a huge eye on her back, has a mask of human flesh from past victims that she's angrily slaughtered, sits in a pool of her own and other scientists' aging blood, has tattered and gut-stained rags for clothes, and has lived in the dingiest and dankest part of the mansion for years. She must fucking stink! Do I even need to actually explain why I think this? She stinks so much that I can taste her. The whole mansion is repulsive enough to give you a fantastic idea how appalling the stench could be, so combine that with the bottom of the barrel part of the mansion and this lovely lady wandering the halls, and you have, in my opinion, the greatest person in video games that probably stinks like shit.
Now, wasn't that charming? And now, before I draw this video to a close, I'm just gonna have a little bit of fun and count all the times that I said shit in this video. So, if you don't like hearing that word, I would suggest not watching the end. Thank you very much. Enjoy. Shit. 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 Shitty. Shit. 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 Shit in this video. And as always, if I've missed some truly stinky people in video games on this list, then please leave your comments and tell me all about your stinky encounters, because I will read all of them. And until next time, if it's your birthday today or watching this video, then happy frickin' birthday to you. If you stink like shit, probably have a wash right now, and please remember to stay beautiful. So, after an excruciatingly long and busy January, I can finally sit down and tinker about with all the games that I got for Christmas. And considering what all of my friends got me on Blu-ray for Christmas, such as Machete Girl, and Hop, Space Buddies, and the nude nuns with big guns, I cannot wait to cover all of the games that they got me for Christmas as well. Friends can be just so thoughtful sometimes. You know? Don't you? Don't you? Don't you? Don't you? Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people. Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not a game deserves to be slaughtered or salvaged. And today, I'm gonna go a little bit mellow for you guys, because I decided I'm gonna cover whatever the fuck games I got for Christmas. Yes, I know, I'm a little late for this by about 2 months. Yes, I know, nobody cares. And yes, I know, I wasted a perfectly good opportunity that I could have used to great advantage during a time closer to the holidays, and I'm a very shameless human being, and what did I do to deserve this? Where did I go so wrong? Why won't she answer the door when I knock? I know I'm not perfect. I know I've made mistakes.
But I know that she sees me because when I knock on the door, she runs deeper into the house.
And as it turns out, I actually got two very, very different games from the same person. My very good friend Zara. So, you know, thank you, Zara. Hopefully I won't want to strangle you once I play through these beauties. So yeah, surprise double review, everybody. And first off, I'm going to have to get through the first game out of the two, SpongeBob SquarePants and Friends Unite, also known as Nicktoons Unite in the USA.
It's alright, I guess.
And now on to the next game, The Great Escape. Because...
oh, it's the Man Village. Yeah, out of these two, I couldn't give this one a fair review because I'm not familiar with everything in the Nicktoon universe. So I feel as though something like this is more accustomed to being reviewed by someone on YouTube like a Nickelodeon fan for the win. I mean, bearing in mind how much he knows, I'm sure he could give a much more fair review than myself.
Hello?
Don't do that ever again.
I'm sorry, Jimmy, I won't do it again.
Anyway, just like every single movie ever made, and that's a fact, there are video games that are made for them. Literally, every single movie. Look it up, I'm not even making it up. And The Great Escape was based on the 1963 cinematic classic World War II stealthy, classy, tense, and horrifically entertaining movie of the same name, starring Steve McQueen. And nothing else needs to be said about it. It's an absolute classic, and if you haven't seen it yet,
why the fuck are you even watching this video?
Go and watch it, you shits.
And so, in 2003, the now closed down Pivotal Games took it upon themselves to make a game out of it. Wait. Seriously? It took until 2003? Business executives thought that E.T., Moonwalker, and Wayne's World could be hot-selling video game masterpieces, and yet no one exploited The Great Escape? Ever? Until 2003? I guess they just decided to wait. I mean, this game could be like Splinter Cell meets Excitebike. Just needed to wait for the technology. I get you. No, really, I do.
So why am I even waiting? My PC gaming fingers are a little bit rusty. So let's just get on and play the game.
Ah, these games. These games. Know what I mean? Those extremely okay movie license games that decently follow scenes from the movie, try their hardest to recreate those classic moments, get impressionist voice actors to try and reinvent those in the movie that passed away, and then added in with a few cool game mechanics. You know, a surprising amount of effort, yet somehow no effort at all. I mean, before we begin, even the menu here is pretty promising, and it even has the original title theme from the movie. No bullshit remixes like in Jaws Unleashed. For copyright reasons, I can't play you it just now, but believe me when I say that it's brilliantly uplifting. Then when you hit new game, it opens you up to a lovely plane battle over Berlin, and good lord, this is too fucking sensitive! So then after a bit of tweaking with the settings, we start off with putting out fires and then a turret section. Isn't this fun? It doesn't last too long, even though it feels like a millennium, and then we have to abandon the craft after substantial damage. We parachute down and land on enemy lines and then get caught by those rowdy Germans who are happy to see us. Another cutscene later and the game begins with us talking to this fine fellow, and we're playing as a character from the movie called McDonald who, oh my god! What happened to his face? He looks like Cole Phelps if he was made from ham. We are then given an objective to talk to another guy, and then we get out and about to test the core aspect of this game. Stealth. And this adds in some lovely things to the genre, such as the stealth cam, which, when held down with the shift button, allows you to look anywhere around you, particularly around corners. This is cool. What isn't cool, however, is this camera angle itself. I mean, Jesus Christ, you couldn't be any half closer, could you? It's so close to the back of your head, it might as well be in first person, and honestly, I couldn't find a way to change it. Anyway, there are some other basic stealthy mechanics, including picking up loud distraction objects, such as bottles, to throw or hit guards with. It sounds basic enough, however, oh shit, I wasted it. And along with the handy stealth cam, you can also use the shift key to look through the keyholes. This is also very cool. And all in all, I can conclude that the shift key for stealth peeking in this game is just cool. The end. So we finish off the first goal and get awarded with this compelling cutscene.
Excuse me, I'm looking for the big X.
Well, you found him. I'm George Alexander, the big X here in Dulag Luft 10. I bet you're eager to escape.
Yes, I am. What do I need to do?
It's great when all your characters sound like this in your game so that you can thoroughly engross and captivate your audience with magical storytelling. Yay. And with these cutscenes, it always feels as though you're watching a badly done and pre-alpha black and white cut of a Thunderbirds episode.
Excuse me, I'm looking for the big X.
Well, you found him. I bet you're eager to escape.
Yes, I am. What do I need to do?
So then we get another objective to go and get a German pass from the guardhouse and bring it back in order to copy the Eagle insignia. No biggie, I'm Cole Hamface Phelps, nothing is too hard for me. What's this? The guard in the guardhouse is sleeping and we need to move stealthily? Okay, gotcha, stealthy it is. Unfortunately, I can't see the guard anywhere, but... okay. There he is. And yes, he's certainly sleeping. However, after a quick look around the surrounding area in the guardhouse, I must say that for 2003, this game doesn't look that bad actually. The textures and shading are okay, the lights and colors are good, the animations are smooth, and there's enough visual variety in the stages to make it very pleasant to look at. Sure, it's a little dated and not amazing for the time, especially when all your characters look like they've melted, but it does the job. It's just a shame that I can't see anything around me for most of the time. And now we have a new objective and a time limit to go with it. You'll find that most of the game's objectives are actually timed, and I like this. Due to the low enemy and guard tower count in most of the levels, there's a better chance of getting stealthy missions done faster, so instead of taking your sweet ass time, you can just quickly blast through all these time missions like a ninja, while at the same time not getting ahead of yourself and slipping up to get caught. You'd think it'd be too demanding in a stealth game, but for this particular stealth game, it's never a stressful mechanic to work around. However, because of this faster gameplay, the game sacrifices hiding spots. Enemies are very predictable with short and exact patterns, and they can't even read your footprints, so instead of tricking your enemies and hiding away from them to advance, you're instead just focusing simply on finding a path around their patterns and nothing else, which in hindsight may not be great, but the timed objectives and level design accommodates this pretty well, and it makes you feel extremely ninja-y. Now after that, we need to return the pass before the Germans find out it's missing. I got it. But before we can leave these barracks here, we need to wait. Wait. Okay, guys, let's get real for a second. I know this is a stealth game and we need to get around the enemies and take our time, blah, 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 but I found that nearly half of my time playing this game ended with me stood around like a ham-faced dickhead just waiting. And here's the thing, most of you know that MGS is one of my favorite franchises of all time, and yes, there's a fair amount of waiting in those games as well. I understand this. But in MGS, you're constantly on guard, constantly thinking ahead, planning your next move, scouting enemy locations, dispatching some enemies, setting up distractions, and even if you are moving through enemy sites, you are moving ever so slightly. Every second in a stealth game needs to be used effectively, and MGS forces you to be patient and productive. But here, there's no need to plan for any of this stuff. I know that there's only one enemy, I know where he's walking, I know exactly where I'm going, I have no weapons or distractions, and I'm literally just waiting here for no fucking reason other than wasting my bloody time! And this isn't just because this is stage 1. In every other stage I played that involved guards walking about, this becomes a tiresome idea very quickly. Guys, stealth is more than just an advanced red light, green light, and it'll be much better if I didn't feel as though I'm just waiting for a freight train to clear some tracks in order for me to carry on. But anyway, enough ranting, because once that is over, I get another objective involving talking to another guy.
I'm starting to notice a pattern here.
Then we do some more waiting before meeting another guy who asks us to get some other things and bring them back to him. Yeah, more fetch quests. And unfortunately, yet again, most of the game is like this. Talk to this guy, talk to that guy, grab this for this guy, grab that for that guy, rinse and repeat. Sure, the stages can dot in some vehicles, shooting, and some decent strategic maneuvering puzzles every so often, but it's mostly just talking, waiting, fetching, waiting, and repeating, and waiting. But I will say that while I was waiting, I noticed that the sound design is actually pretty good with the voice placements and sound effects. And the music isn't too bad either. And once you break free from the curse of waiting around guards, exploring the corners of the levels that you're on and searching for additional optional items ends up being pretty fun. Back to the mission though, chaps, because now I must do yet another fetch quest. Fine, I guess I'll just have to do— Whoa! A random search happens. And then once Alec Baldwin here checks you out, we can then move along with other stuff. But then all of a sudden I get spotted, and it's here that we get to witness this game's marvelous combat. But unfortunately, all is lost as my story ends dead. Whoever knew that the floor materializing into my face was the true threat here? And just to test the game's spotted by the enemy mechanics, I deliberately got caught multiple times in this bit to see if I could actually avoid it. Well, I couldn't escape, couldn't lower the alarms, couldn't fight off the guards, and overall this mechanic of the game is just fucking broken. There's nowhere to hide even if you do avoid them, so you know what? You might as well hit the restart button once you get spotted because you can't do shit to get out of it. And once you die, you start right at the fucking beginning again. However, it's honestly just worth it to punch your way through people because it does this to them.
And to be honest guys, if you watch my show, you would know that I am not one for cheating on any game at all. But this time I feel as though I can make an exception because I want to use a level skip to see what else this game can throw at me. So, all we gotta do is go to the main menu, hold shift, and then key in caught again.
Well, there's a load of stages for one, but after playing through all of these, they're all the same story, more or less. One stage had some driving, much smarter enemies with guns, and some of this. And then there was another snow stage where you're in enemy disguise, so nothing happens at all until you get to the shooting. And holy fuck, this shooting is unplayably bad in third person. Look at this wibbly wobbly mess. I'm not even moving the mouse right now. Luckily though, there's a first person mode for the shooting, which comes in great handy for sniping. However, I get myself a sniper rifle, do this mission, and get killed more or less instantly and die in a very unfortunate position. Then there was this nighttime stage after a tunneling sequence that was exactly the same as every other stage, except I was stuck listening to this the entire time. Then I got spotted, tried running and hiding to no avail, knocked up 2 guys and then couldn't hit the other for some fucking reason, died, and then I gave up. But my favourite stage had to be this one here in a foggy airfield. And this man here looked handy enough, but...
I'm just going to slow you down. Find somewhere to hide me.
You miserable fuck. And with God as my witness, I could not get past this pissing fence. I used wire cutters and tried crouching under it and literally tried for 30 minutes to get past this bit, but nothing happened. I don't know. How do I even do this?
But despite all of these hardships, I absolutely have to try the last level. If you're familiar with the movie and you're familiar with the bike chase scene, it's infinitely, amazingly, incredibly famous. But you would have thought that the best part of the game could have been squeezed out and come out of that part. So, I hope that that level can shed some light onto this game on the last level. So, let's give it a go.
What the fuck? Shit. Holy shit. What is this? Shit. What am I doing? What is going on? Look at this fucking fuck. Okay, I'm gonna be honest here. This is the most glorious mess of a game ending I've ever seen in my life. Nothing works here. It's just unfathomable. There are no physics. The controls are destroyed. Turning is too slow and too tight. There are more glitches here than in-game trees, and people are flying fucking everywhere doing Russian Cossack dancing. And I gotta be honest, it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
I'm serious! This is fucking fantastic! How could you get the most iconic scene from the movie this wrong? Just look at it!
I mean, what else can I even say? I just can't do it. I tried multiple times and kept dying constantly, but fuck it. I can't stay mad at something this tragically funny. Whoever thought that this was a good idea must have also thought that Whoopi Goldberg should marry Gerard Depardieu so that her name becomes Whoopi Doopy Doo. And trust me, it may not look funny, but for the love of God, try playing it for yourself. It's impossible. You'll die both in-game and in real life out of the lols, as the kids say.
So, Zara, where SpongeBob may have just been okay and The Great Escape extremely bland, you have undoubtedly given me one of the biggest laughs and one of the most largest, complete, epic flops of a game ending of all time, and that has made it all worth it. Sure, you might have ruined that one scene and maybe the entire movie for me, but you know what? Who cares? Both of these games get the Slavage. As I was saying, both of these games get the I can't! Why do I even find that so funny? Why? One of the most recognisable and cherished movie moments of all time reduced to a steaming pile of... That's it! I give up! No more! I quit!
You hear me, world? I give up! You win! I never even liked Capri Sun. I'm a liar! A fraud! A charlatan! A fake! You will never remember! No one will! I promise I will make the people choose! Rise above the treachery! Catch Wilson with his trousers down and fight our way to the end of days. I swear, we will win, and we shall overcome the disgusting taste of frozen yogurt. I don't fucking... I think I just found myself my new favorite video game company. I'm so utterly, wholeheartedly sorry. Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people. I don't care anymore.
I don't. I mean, just look at this. Look at it. I mean, just look at it. I mean, I never thought in my entire life, in my whole career, anything that I would ever have to play or witness or see something. Just, you know, my life coming up to this watershed pinnacle moment of having to play and buy and play through and watch and play and buy something as abominable as this. I mean, Dalmatians 3? Where's Dalmatians 1 and 2?
I mean, for fuck's sake, every so often you come across something and you just think, why? And this game is already easing onto #1 of my top 10, oh, the complete and indescribable anguish list. This game is a fucking enigma, you know, it just raises one too many unsettling questions. As you can see, it's obviously based off of Disney's 101 Dalmatians franchise, but it makes absolutely no sense. Is this the unofficial 101 Dalmatians 3, or the unofficial 102 Dalmatians 2, or is it the goddamn unofficial 103 Dalmatians 1? I mean, Disney in recent years have been known to make some unspeakable garbage, and luckily enough for their skinny little necks, Disney's name isn't anywhere on this. But then that just raises even more questions.
So then I decided to do some research into the company of whoever made this wretched piece of shit. And on my travels, I found some questionable things.
The company is known as Phoenix Games, and good luck if you can find any scrappling of information on the entire internet about them. All that I managed to do was Google image the company, and then I found these. Who can forget those classic games on the PS2 next to Shadow of the Colossus and Sly Cooper 2, such as White Van Racer? No? Not ringing any bells? Okay, well how about Animal Soccer World? Still nothing? Well, how about Snow White and the 7 Clever Boys? I have nothing to say. Do you even know what to say? Because I sure don't. Okay, well maybe you know this one. It's an absolute classic, Street Warrior. Sweet Mother and Mary's illicit God!
I mean, after the shit that I played on this channel, you guys probably think that Telegames were the worst possible company to make games on any home-based disc video game system. Well, I think that Phoenix Games takes that blood-soaked cake by 1,000-fold, and it takes it to the deepest fathoms of hell and back again for eternal damnation on the surface amongst us consumer mortals that actually paid money for this malodorous tripe.
Right off the bat, this game confuses me. I'm now in a menu, I think. I'm not sure what the fuck I'm even looking at right now, but I assume it's a language selector, so I guess if I just hit select where I am right now, everything will just sort itself out. And this is where we discover that, unfortunately, this isn't really a game, so to speak, and more just a shitty collection of shitty minigames that don't even need to be made for a fucking PS2 disc. And these include a functioning painting game that gives us rather horrifying results, but it does look worse than Mario Paint, and for the PS2, that's fucking inexcusable. Then we have a puzzle game that has pieces that are exactly the same shape as one another. The solution is right there for you to copy blatantly, and every time you place a piece down, you hear the sound of Satan throwing up. And also, it's a little bit bloody disorientating because of the fact that there's a constant background image underneath the picture that you're trying to fucking solve. Then there's this game. I don't even have a clue. Then there's this card matching game. It's boring and pointless, trust me. And then finally, there's a I fucking hate these. But the worst thing about this is, and I'm not even joking here, that these simple as shit minigames with no music and no animation and no graphics feel as though they need to spend up to a minute just loading. Yes! And for me, when it did decide to load a part of the disc, it actually nearly made my PS2 bloomin' explode. What's that? You don't believe me? Well, watch this then.
Okay, there's the title oh. Good fucking God! We're not even joking, it's like... I mean, how long have we been sitting here every time it loads? Every time it loads, and how long, see, look how long it takes to load the language selector! And it's still making that noise! Come on, pick it. Look. I feel like it's gonna set fire to the whole house! I'm so scared and...
I just don't want to do it anymore.
But this is not the main event that we're going to be seeing tonight, for there is actually a bigger aspect to this game. One which is the dominant segment that consists of most of this disc here. And is this bit of the game worth any sort of remote little look? Well, grab some popcorn, sit back, and find out. I'm serious. Grab some popcorn. I'm not joking, you're gonna need it. Begin.
Where are you going, Lucy? Don't you want to play?
I do, but I'm hungry. I'll be right back.
Oh no!
I mean, where do I even start with this? I have no idea. At all. Do you have an idea? Because I bloody don't. I mean, did you even fucking hear this voice acting?
You get lost, Charlie, or something nasty will happen.
Oh, stop it, Charlie. Can't you see that Lucy's not in a bad way? Don't you want to check if it's really in its hole?
Is there something not in order?
Cry, baby, cry, baby, cry, baby. You sprinkled pepper on the cake. You nasty tomcat, you.
This is a new level of awful. I'm serious. How does no one ever even talk about this game when it comes to awful video game voice acting? I guess we'll never know that, but what I do think that you'd like to know is, instead, the story. These are dogs, and this is a cat. The cat plays pranks on dogs, and then it runs away like this.
I'm not sure I can keep through with this. This game is going to be the death of me.
And then all of a sudden there's a narrator to the story in the form of a crow, I think. And it basically just sums up everything that I just explained.
He belonged to Pino's, Sasha's, and Lucy's owner's neighbor.
Okay, already I don't even give a shit. The plot has failed to engage me.
And is it a girl? A guy? I see no dick or tits and the voice is kind of indistinguishable, so I don't know.
Owner's neighbor. The neighbor and the old lady who owned them.
Wait! What? Am I going mad? Is it just me, or was there, pray tell, a shot of a rabbit just then having a fucking seizure, making no noise for like a split second? I mean, what the hell is even going on? Well, plot-wise, as far as I can fathom at least, the cat's a bastard, the dogs are fed up, and so they want to play a trick on the cat to
get revenge.
And the final straw that broke the camel's back with this was the day that the cat sprinkled pepper on a dog cake that he gave them.
Cake. An A1 doggy cake.
Excuse me, sir. Those are not a singular whole cake. No. They are, I think you'll find, in fact, actually, biscuits. I'm now starting to wonder if English was this company's native language because they really ain't convincing me right now. And is it just me, or does the cat sound like a strange cross between Will-O-the-Wisp and X-20 from Stingray?
Well, that all depends. What do you want from me?
Oh, there's a rare sight. It must be something very big.
So anyway, the dogs concoct a plan and the prank goes ahead the next morning as they go off and tell the cat to look under a tree to catch a mouse. I smell something very fishy going on here.
Jesus! You alright there, cat? Your neck kind of stretched out a little bit. No? Yeah? You alright? You good? Okay.
And as it turns out, very much like this scene that we just witnessed here, there are actually no sound effects and the voices are just not there. All throughout this. Some sounds just cease to exist. They're missing everywhere, I swear to God. How could this have ever fucking passed testing? Did anyone seriously look at this and think, hey, you know what? This is perfect, perfect. The masses will absolutely love this. I'm sure they'll be willing to pay money to see this printed now. But anyway, after this rolling, there's a new plot point introduced. The cat gets a gingerbread heart from his master and the dogs get a great idea.
Our old lady has a birthday coming up. A heart like this would be great as a present for her.
I also have a birthday coming up. Me too!
Me too!
I also have a birthday coming up.
Me too!
So do I!
Me too!
However, since this is real life, the dogs actually need
money
for the gingerbread, which is kind of understandable, I suppose. But that's pretty funny in itself, because the box actually told me that we were getting cookies.
Everything I knew was a lie.
So now the dogs want to swap this fucking junk over here in order to trade for some gingerbread. I'm sure this will go down just swell. And then they set off to town because dogs do that, and then we see some heavy metal pigs driving past. Before one of the dogs, fucked if I know its name, jumps up to grab some gingerbread. And then the humans happen.
Stop! Stop! Give that back immediately!
The dogs then try explaining to the humans that they weren't stealing the gingerbread, which then lets us to discover that in this universe, these different species can communicate to each other because why not? great. But none of the humans actually care about what the talking dogs have to say, so the police... Okay, whisk the dogs away to be locked up.
Are you bored yet? No? Okay then.
The crow then chats up some more bullshit about everything we just saw, and then... Okay, honestly guys, when I watched this travesty, by this point I just figured this was an overly long cutscene that would end very soon so that the proper game could begin. But no, I couldn't be any more wrong. It just kept going and going and going, getting gradually worse every goddamn second. I know none of the names of these animals. Random characters appear and vanish in and out of scenes at complete random. None of the audio is even remotely synced to what you're seeing. The voice acting sounds like it was performed by one fucking asshole that didn't even know what a dictionary was, and the animation is... well, there isn't any! When it comes to gaming, everybody says that the Zelda CDI games were the worst for animating and voice acting, but no. This word needs to be spread loud and clear. This is the ultimate of gaming lows, and I will have nobody tell me otherwise.
And yes, okay, I can envision all of you at home right now thinking about typing, oh yes, but Caddy, you deliberately picked out a game that's clearly designed for children, so why are you even complaining? Yes, well, do you know what? That's no excuse at all. There still needs to be some sort of quality control with these things. I mean, yes, kids may be very easy to entertain, but they are not stupid, and this is just insulting.
There are some awesome kids games out there, especially some of the PS1 Disney games and even all the stuff from Humongous Entertainment. But for a company to slap together loads of shitty minigames with no music that could easily be done at home without any fucking electricity, and then add in the worst cartoon anyone has ever laid eyes on, and then slap on Disney characters on the box to trick parents into buying it, makes me think that this company is actually hell incarnate into a game company. And as for this cartoon, take a guess how long it goes on for. Go on, take a guess. I'll wait. Oh, come on, keep on guessing. I'm sure you can... 45 minutes! 45! And it just gets worse and worse. Just like leaving cheese on the kitchen side for a few days. You just don't do it, you know? Because it stinks. And all in all, this entire package as a whole literally makes me shiver with fear. So anyway, we get some more bullshit with 1994 laptop computers before heading briskly off to the pound to save those idiots from earlier. And this is when we meet the main antagonist, some random guard dog.
Two new ones. Oh, well, welcome to the dog pound, Castor and Pollux.
Oh, God, no!
And so, this dog... 2 dogs? What? Introduce us to our new doggy friends in the pound. What the fuck? But then it turns out that we actually recognize these dogs and then...
Silence!
Okay. Unfortunately though, nothing interesting at all happens in this bit, however. Well, you know, apart from more of the horrendous voices.
I was also there. I had,
Yes, that's the way it was.
And also, there's a random sheepdog here that never appears in the story ever again. He just sits there for one scene and he's kind of creeping me out. Hey up, I think I should have had those naughty special candies at the disco.
Draw me like one of your French girls.
And it also seems like that those idiot dogs that got caught earlier are now undergoing slave labor? I mean...
Lick and stick. Lick and stick. Lick and stick. Lick and stick. Lick.
And stick?
Lick.
What about stick?
Lick.
Yes, but you're forgetting stick.
Lick and stick.
And I just gave up.
And then the crow returns again to explain even more shit.
Rimmel and Twifflechin would have to hurry if they wanted to help those two.
Are you finished? Right.
And this is where I officially lost all fucking caring. I realized it wasn't going to end anytime soon. It's one of those rare instances in a game where the novelty of how awful everything is actually gets really tiresome and unfunny pretty shortly. I mean, how is this even made with a PS2 disc? Just imagine how much free space there was on that disc when this was finished. Not only are the minigames that make up every bit of the gameplay completely worthless even for mid-90s gaming standards, but look at the movie itself. It actually looks worse than pre-PS1 FMV from systems like the Sega CD. It just blows my mind. All I wanted was for this to just end, but instead I was stuck in here with all these stupid dogs that always talk about how they like to...
Throttle that Pollux.
I'm sorry. Excuse me?
Throttle that Pollux.
Could you please say that again?
Throttle that Pollux.
You better watch your mouth, young man. This is a kid's game.
It better look like it was licked clean. Your mother was very good at that.
Okay, that about wraps it up. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time. Okay, fine. Keep fucking going.
So our titular character gets oh so close to rescuing some of the idiot dogs when all of a sudden... What the actual hell is even going on right now? And then after some more series of nonsensical and unexplained events, the Crow needs to steal a code for the security system installed in the pound.
That's supposed to be a secret code. It's just a simple mathematics.
Yes, you're right. Of course. The code is just a simple mathematics. How could someone actually allow this to be sold on the shelf? And before anybody asks, yes, this is a Sony licensed product, and may I remind you as well, it was made for the PlayStation 2. Look at this, it was made for the PS2 in 2003. They allowed this to go through. Money went into this. Look at it! And you know what? The box lied to me yet again. Where's this bitch? Or this bitch? Or this dog over here? Well, guess what? All of these characters on the front of the fucking box never appear. Ever. Anywhere on this disc. Why would you go through the effort of ripping off Disney-specific characters from Disney-specific movies and then somehow materialize a confusing fucking title that tries to tie itself into the franchise, but instead makes no sense anywhere in any universe, and then actually never have the game even vaguely relate to the cover? I don't understand it. I waited in vain for these fucking boxed characters to show up, and after the worst 45 minutes I've ever had to sit through, nothing. And saying that as well, Dalmatians 3? Why is it even called this? Where are the Dalmatians? There are 3 of them in the whole game. 3! How did they think that they could get away with this? Dalmatians 3? They should have called it 3 Dalmatians. Although I can safely say that the cartoon does have some epic chase scene music. And trust me, it becomes even more epic when you have this lovely image pushed into your face.
Okay, guys, before I carry on, I have to apologise. I must apologise. Because for the next 20-odd fucking minutes of this shit, it's exactly the same stuff. I can comment on absolutely nothing else. It's all the same shit. This game has officially sucked me dry. And so, after much deliberation, I decided that from this bit onwards, I was just going to play, back to back, all of my favourite quotes from this awful travesty piece of shit of a video game, just so that you get a better idea on how hilariously awful it is. Yep, I know, they'll be out of context, but even when they're in context, they make equal fucking sense. So you know what, I don't even care. Sit back, please, and enjoy.
At the market? Tüpfelchen, oh Tüpfelchen. Oh, I think she's in trouble. I'm sure she went to find Toby and Timmy. Well, would you believe it? That was pretty fast. Where are Butch and Tüpfelchen?
Once I decided to get involved, I was consistent.
But he disappeared weeks ago.
Exactly.
I don't want to hear every word. Sleep.
I know. I think I know something.
Leave them alone, Pollux.
What's the screaming about? What's going on here?
We'll come up with something. I just have. Yeah, I've just thought of something.
They aren't burglars. Let them go immediately or else. Oh, goody.
I needed to take a pee, and I didn't quite make it to the courtyard.
That policeman, he will be as mad as hell. Oh, boy, that was close.
And do you want to know the ending line to this kid's cartoon? The closing sentence to this epic 45-minute movie? The final words spoken by these utterly beloved characters? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you...
The contents of a liver sausage will always be a mystery.
Huh?
This game gets slaughtered. I mean, Jesus Christ on a bicycle. I could never even have imagined how bad this game would be. I mean, at the time, Coronation Street and the Mystery of the Missing Hot Pot Recipe was indeed the worst game I've ever played in my life. But that down there, it's not even in the same fucking ballpark. This is the worst thing I've ever even seen, let alone played. But honestly, to critique this as a game, it means that I actually have to talk about the gameplay segments, and where all the mini-game sections of this game are just terrible, the cartoon segment of this disc is just so bad, so atrocious, so fucking abysmal that it's just great. For all of you sadists out there that can sit through 45 minutes of one of the worst cartoons you've ever seen in your life and enjoy it with a couple of friends, it's right up your street. I would recommend this to hell and back. Seriously guys, search this game up on YouTube or buy it for yourself. It'll be really cheap in some sort of dumpster somewhere, and you will not regret any second of it. Please trust me. And so, to sum up, this game is worse than Zelda CDI and Birdemic. Oh, and after one playthrough of this game, the disc got so hot that it wouldn't actually load again afterwards. At all. Yeah, this is like that creepypasta about that fake game, Kill Switch. You know, the one that once you've beaten it once, it just erases all traces of itself so that you can never play it again, and that no one ever knows it even existed. Yeah, that's this game. But in real life. I've got nothing else to say. Fuck this game.
You know, James, it's been nearly 3 weeks since my birthday, and I, for one, can't believe that you haven't reviewed one of my favourite games ever made. Doctor! James is dead!
No, he isn't.
I'm not making it up, Doctor! He's out for the count! Dalmatian 3 has literally killed him!
I'm not a doctor.
Still not waking up. Oh well, guess I can now play the PS1 without him kicking me out.
Welcome to the Jungle Book Groove Party!
James! This isn't what it looks like, I swear!
Is that the Jungle Book Groove Party? Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people, and welcome to the Caddicarus show, where I always have to do the dirty deed of deciding whether or not a game deserves to be slaughtered or salvaged. Let's get groovy.
DDR. Yeah, I bet you didn't expect me to start my next sentence off with that, eh? DDR is everywhere. DDR is anywhere. DDR is even there. DDR is about rhythm. Rhythm is the pulse of life. So that means
DDR is life.
You know DDR, right? Dance Dance Revolution, pick a song, jump around like a toddler about to piss themselves, hit the right directions with your feet to the beat, and win points. All of the points. I must top my hat off to the guy who came up with this concept, because from 1998 until even today, yes, that's 16 years, this arcade cabinet and video game series has captivated anyone and everyone willing to show off, and made tons of money, leading to worldwide competitions and even other spin-off video games that copied their style and ideas. And it just so happens that one day in 2000, someone randomly came out of absolutely nowhere and said, hey, you know what would make DDR even better? By playing as Baloo the fucking bear. And so, the Jungle Book Groove Party was born, also known as the Jungle Book Rhythm and Groove in the USA.
The idea behind this game is absolutely baffling and unknown to me. But you know what? Who cares, right? I need some perking up after Dalmatians 3, so you know what? This better be worth my bloody time.
I don't know about you guys, but this game brings me tons of nostalgia. It was the first game I'd ever played that involved using one of those hideously smelling plastic rugs that stuck to your feet, and cats would piss and shit all over them, and dogs would chew and throw up on them, and they would never fucking work after being rolled up like 2 fucking times, and sometimes they didn't even want to roll up at all, which meant having it out on the fucking floor on the time. On the floor, constantly, mocking you, begging you to dance. Dance! Dance for me! Dance, you little fatty pig! You need to exercise while you play video games, and I'm here to force you! Yeah, now that I think about it, those things were actually fucking awful. But this here was the game that introduced my younger self to the world of DDR-styled video games. A weird introduction, I know, but an introduction nonetheless. And you know what? I know. The concept is weird, the characters are weird, the songs are weird, it's a movie-licensed game, it's horrifically uninspired, and King Louie looks like he wants to murder you. But you know what? This game is hella fun. Hella fun. Hella fun. Elephant. Elephant. Puns. But yeah, even though our dance mat that came with the game worked for like a month, and honestly I think we lost it, and even though I'm reviewing this game by playing with the controller, I can still say, hand on heart, that this game is fun.
Yeah? Did you expect me to say that? Well, I hope not. Otherwise, I'm never reviewing another game ever again. Ever. I mean, if you thought otherwise, you could just fucking go. You could just go, right now. Just go. Just go. Because you know what? Contrary to what other people believe and what other people say, I do read and listen to what all of you guys have to say. All of you. every single last one of you. And yes, I know, I can put my hands up. I've done nothing but shitty games on my review show recently. So you know what? Maybe I could think, oh, I'll spice it up a little bit and throw in a half-decent game every so often to make things interesting. But you know what? If you guys were to assume that this was another shitty game that I was just going to knock out and say that it's shit and make everybody laugh and make me go through loads of torture, if I'm that predictable, then you know what? If you thought that that's what I was gonna, if you thought I was gonna say that this game was good, then you know what? You're just so inconsiderate. So inconsiderate. You're horrible. You hurt my feelings, you know? I don't even have to make a fucking video. You know, I just can't do anything right. I can't. It's like, first it's like, ooh, you need to do more good games, and then it's, oh, you need to do more of the review show, and then it's, oh, when are you gonna do Spyro? And it's like, I don't even understand that.
So the Jungle Book Groove Party is one of those games that actually exceeds the audience's expectations, partly because the audience's expectations are lower than the alcohol percentage in non-alcoholic beer. You expect it to be a terrible and broken mess of a movie tie-in DDR spin-off, but instead it actually does exactly what you'd like it to, and it does it decently. Like, surprisingly decently. I know Disney have a knack to make some really good games every so often, but as far as movie licensed games go altogether, at least this is one that actually functions, and it functions like butter. In order to progress the game and unlock all the characters and songs for super happy fun times, we need to play through the story mode. The story consists of 9 songs, which is kinda, sorta, extremely lame. And it also doesn't matter what difficulty you play the story in, you'll unlock every character and song either way by going through any difficulty from easy mode to expert mode.
Now, unfortunately, you'd think that being lazy and beating the entire game in easy mode to then unlock everything and then play to whatever your heart desires on any difficulty, where you might think that would be a very quick, simple, and very easy process. Well, simple and easy, yes, but quick, well...
Join the ranks and walk in line. Join the ranks and march in time. There is no game you can win if you don't have discipline.
Basically, don't fucking do it.
And that's because this, if you couldn't figure out, is a kid's game. So unless you crank up that difficulty to expert, you ain't gonna be having any fun at all. And you'd want to beat the story mode in expert anyway, because then you unlock the coveted crazy mode. This is where shit gets real. Dance mat or controller, crazy mode is what I always used to play as a kid, and even today. Oh, Jesus Christ, did I actually just say out loud that I still play this today? I mean, it isn't impossibly difficult, but it just gives you enough challenge, difficulty, and fun addicting beat-pulsing freshness to keep you actually surprisingly engaged. And the way that the game itself is built around the player using the dance mat means that these 2 circles that you need to catch the descending arrows actually correspond to your left and right feet. So whenever you see a particular arrow land in the left circle, use your left foot. And whenever an arrow is in the right circle, use your right foot. And vice versa. But what's even better than that is that if you're cool, like myself, and use a controller to play, you can use both the arrow buttons and the symbol buttons in the exact same way, dedicating left circle beats to your left hand and right circle beats to your right hand. Simple yet fucking effective game design, people.
And you may be thinking, oh, Caddy, you know, this is just a kid's DDR movie tie-in Disney game, you know, maybe there's not much else to it and you're just being far too nice with it. Well, you know what? Maybe in terms of the content department, yeah, the game fucking lacks a lot, but more about that later. Let's talk about the gameplay.
As you're playing through this weedy amount of songs, you'll notice a few cool things thrown into the stages to keep everything interesting. Most notably, the power-up system. Now, how this works is that during random points in the song, a random power-up will appear at the top of the screen for about 10 seconds or so. These can be anything from firewalls, point doublers, bonus challenges to unlock Easter eggs, and even extra lives if you fail the song pretty miserably. But how do you access these powers, though? How do you access them? Well, my beautiful curious viewer, through the actually harder than it sounds process of inputting a specific button combination during a gap between 2 beat buttons in the song. And if that's done correctly, hit the next beat button on the right time and boom, power up. This becomes especially challenging when in crazy mode because of how quick the arrows can be moving in the later stages, and even more challenging in the 2 different boss battles, when you have to input and grab the power up before your opponent does, and if he does it before you and activates it on you, 3 strikes and you're out, my friend. But during the 2 boss battles, that's the only time in the game where you're actually under threat from your opponent when they can actually use their power-ups against you. Apart from that, however, the 3 strikes rule is the same in every single stage. You start to fumble, you go from green to amber. You can't get out of amber? Well, then you go to red. Can't get out of red? Then you lose. And not to mention, in the stages, to grab a gold medal at the end of it in crazy mode, which unfortunately adds to nothing, you need to beat the stage without entering amber mode once and getting a certain amount of points. Yes, like I said, it ultimately contributes to nothing apart from your points and being on the Temple of Fame, but you know, fuck it, I like a good challenge. But there are some other cute gameplay features added in, such as the karaoke bar, just in case you want to sing along to these lovely songs as you're concentrating on this. However, I'm so pro at this game and obviously played it a bit too much that I can actually recite every lyric in every song by heart, even after 13 odd years.
Well, there are things I do believe in, and there are things I don't believe in, and the line is sometimes fine between right and wrong.
The only one I don't really get, though, is the preview for when you highlight random on the song selection. But yes, this may sound great and all, but seriously, there's only 9 fucking songs. And 2 of them, yes, 2 of them are from Disney's movie. No Trust in Me, no Colonel Harty's March, no That's What Friends Are For, and no My Own Home. I mean, what's this shit about? You can license the characters and the images and 2 of the songs from the movie, but not the entire soundtrack. I don't get it. I mean, isn't that why you make a fucking Jungle Book DDR music-based game in the first place? To play through the music in the fucking movie that this game is based on? It absolutely makes no sense to me. Luckily enough though, the original songs they add in aren't actually too bad, and some are even kinda catchy, especially tracks like Shere Khan's stage.
While you have a chance. Run, friend, run. This is your last dance.
And actually, if anything, these newly added tracks actually benefit the strong rhythmic jungle drum beats for the dancing and button pressing, which makes the game fun and challenging in the first place. But then, oh joy, the PS1 FMV makes a triumphant return into my life, and it looks just marvelous. Although, admittedly, they don't actually look too bad for the time. I mean, sure, the frame rate is as consistent as spreading cold Nutella on thin bread, Mowgli looks like a duck, and Shanty looks ill. But overall, it's not too shabby, I guess. Okay, I take it all back! Not to mention the in-game animations, where they are a little bit choppy, are pretty good. Not to mention the environments. Simple, not distracting from the game and the arrows, but still pleasant, with some real nice detail in places. But the best thing about the cutscenes, though, is the way that they just skim over the Disney story in mere fucking seconds. I mean, they cram absolutely nothing but exposition in every quick spoken sentence, and it's absolutely hilarious.
I proved it! I can stay in the jungle for sure!
Listen, Mowgli. Shere Khan hates man, and he is not going to allow you to grow up to become one. Now let's climb this tree, man cub. It will be a safe place to spend the night.
It's like they just want the game to be over as quick as possible, so they just read nothing but key lines. It cracks me up.
Hi. My name is Mowgli. Hello.
So apart from unlocking all the characters and levels, unlocking crazy mode, and witnessing the awkwardness of shitty facial animations, the story mode isn't too much to write home about. But then, look at me, complaining about the story in a DDR game. I don't even have to make a joke about that, it just makes me look like a right old wanker. However, if you ask me, talking about the power-ups again, not only do these add a nice little addition to the story mode, but they also come into play to make the best thing about this game. The multiplayer. God damn, this is fun. I mean, Dance Marathon mode can go fuck itself in the face, but this? Power-up confrontation mode? This shit is the bomb. In this mode, power-ups appear and vanish quicker than you can cough. And they now include offensive weapons against your opponents, such as completely blocking their field of view, scrambling as many arrows as possible, turning some of the arrows invisible, spinning the arrows in clockwise and anti-clockwise circles in time to the beat, or even outright throwing a whole set of arrows to an entirely different beat to the song that you're hearing. And if one person doesn't grab the power-up before the other one, you both have to endure the punishment. This does make for some intense DDR battles with a friend, and it's easily the best thing about this game overall, especially when playing on crazy after unlocking it through the story on expert mode. But I gotta say, picking your characters in versus mode is another fucking story altogether. And you know what? Even the team play mode on the story is great fun because you have to save your partner's mistakes, which then makes your dance more difficult and oh god, this is so much fun.
But what about Lou Bega?
No.
But he's in the game.
No, he isn't.
Come on.
Never.
He's the best thing in the game.
Okay, you can fuck right off.
Hey, King Louie. Let's see who's the real king in this jungle. Can you beat my dance challenge?
Yes, after beating the game, you unlock the boring and slow as hell bonus mission with no power-ups when you have to play as King Louie dancing to Lou Bega's Academy Award winning and emotionally driven rendition of I Wanna Be Like You. I'm lying, it's stupid, but also pretty funny. And when you do beat it, which, trust me, isn't hard at all, you get to watch the official music video. I mean, good lord, when did this guy ever make a cover of this song? I don't remember. Do you? Well, he apparently did, and also, for some reason, he chose to appear in this fucking game because I guess people started to forget who he was. And it wouldn't bother me so much if it weren't for the fact that I don't look at me like that!
But I think that what I love most about this game is the fact that the Flash-based website, the official Flash-based website for this game, still exists on the internet after 14 odd years. Seriously, look it up. So the true testament to this game's legacy is still strong today. Either that or everyone forgot that the game existed and they just left the fucking website there. But I didn't. Hence why, even though it's not perfect at all, and still surprisingly fun, the Jungle Book Groove Party gets the salvage. And as it was Rosie's 18th birthday about 3 weeks ago, and you've wanted me to cover this game for fucking ages, I hope you're happy. But why this is one of your favourite games of all time, I will never know. So there you have it, it's been a while, but I've covered another game that I actually kind of like. Except the PS2 version. That's a broken, messy fucking piece of shit, if you can believe that. Yeah, the next generation. I don't know how. So, are we good? We good? We good. Yeah. 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 Jesus Christ, you know, I just go out there to change my shirt and then I hear this almighty rumbling from my room and everything starts shaking. I mean, what the hell was that? Okay, no, I'm not doing that. Okay, wait. Why would there be a small-scale earthquake only in my room, and why would I own a little girl's Bratz PS2 game? I'm dreaming, aren't I? Yeah, of course, I'm bloody dreaming. Okay, okay. Let's clear this up. I'm just gonna walk back into my room and see if everything is back to normal.
Caddy, you have to do it.
No.
It's your 200,000 subscriber special.
I don't give a shit.
Come on, you've got to. It'll be a cakewalk.
You wanna do it? You wanna fucking do it?
Well, no, I'm just saying.
You know what? Why don't you just marry that game you love it so much, eh? Why don't you? You paraphiliac!
Hey, I'm sorry.
No! Fuck you! Why would I want to do Bratz? I'm not doing Bratz. 200k special or not, why would I want to do Bratz? You know, you come here. Come here.
Caddy!
I guess I have no choice, really. I've put this off long enough. The remnants of my sanity must be laid to rest. The bastard child of my PS2 collection must be covered. I mean, hell, Dalmatians 3 is the bastard child of my PS2 collection. Hell, it's the worst game that I own. But this was the original worst PS2 game I ever owned, before that monstrosity showed up. I've been dreading this day for far too long. But now, at 200,000 subscribers, there's no better time that I can do this.
Are you ready to do this then?
Oh, Ollie, sorry about earlier.
Oh, don't worry. It's okay.
No, it isn't. I'm sorry.
Seriously, it's fine.
No, it isn't. I overreacted. I called you some names. I said I did some things that I'm not proud of. So I'm just telling you that I'm sorry.
Caddy, I'm not joking. It's completely fine.
No, it isn't. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I did that.
You know what? No. Forget it. Fuck you.
You don't know Bratz? Consider yourself lucky. I mean literally, Bratz by name, Bratz by nature. And it has a Z in it, because it's cool. Think Barbie, then times it by 4, and then suck out all of that pesky leg fat that Barbie clearly needs to sort out, and you have Bratz.
And that's it. That is it. The capacity of everything you need to know about this particular line of dolls ends there. You think there's any more to it? Because there ain't.
Also, they made baby Bratz. It's a baby in a fucking 2-piece swimsuit, and the picture makes it look like she's fucking pregnant.
And then they made video games. And then they made video games. And then they made video. And when you're focusing on a toy line that calls each individual doll something that rhymes with Shatz, and when you're focusing on something that focuses on the 3 core values of life stated by Carter himself, friendship, hair play, and a passion for fashion, you know that you're going to be playing a fucking masterpiece. Happy fucking 200,000 subscribers, everybody. Come on. Give me your worst.
Well, look who's here. The fashion freaks. Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready now.
So basically, this nameless brat, and nope, I'm not insulting her, that's what they're called, is going for an editor assistant job at a high-end magazine publisher.
Mean girl alert. Those two things are called Kirsty and Casey. But everyone at Styles High calls them the Tweevils.
Okay, wait a second. Why do these guys get an intro? I don't even know the names of our heroines yet, but these guys get a fucking in-depth character study and X-ray introduction in the first 2 minutes? And who is this girl talking to exactly? Is she the newly appointed narrator to this train wreck, or is she just talking to her friends about them even though they already know who they are?
I'm just gonna stop looking for the flaws and the plot holes and everything. It's Bratz. It's gonna be fucking shit. So let's fucking move on. And it'll be over faster.
So yeah, these girls are the enemy, I suppose, and the brats make their opinions towards them very clear. And then after that, we find Jade, I think, partaking in her job that she mentioned earlier. But before she can get to work, she must meet her boss, who is wearing a tiara. So as you can tell, we're going to get along just swell.
I was thinking that maybe we could do a column on street trends, see what's taking off at clubs, do a quiz fest.
Don't you just love it in cutscenes when none of the voices remotely sync up to the mouths of the main characters? I love it.
And I also love the fact that on this game's release in 2005, I would have had to have paid £30 for the privilege of watching the majesty and mystery of the
phantom phone line.
I'm serious. The fucking thing just ghosted its way through that shit. This is scary. But that is nothing compared to the boss's reaction to Jade, I think, getting lunch for her.
Carbs! What are you trying to do? Kill me? Make me fat? I only eat greens!
So as it turns out, Jade, I think, actually ends up getting fired because she wasn't actually told what the boss likes to eat for lunch. I do logic every not at all. But she doesn't just get fired, and she doesn't just get seriously disciplined, and she doesn't just get majorly embarrassed. No. She gets rained on with motherfucking lightning storms!
You are fired for life. In fact, even your children and your grandchildren are fired!
Sheesh, lady!
Fired!
It's those lightning bolt effects. Good God, they're perfect. Every time.
I just want to tell you I am so psyched to be working here with you and your thing. I've got a ton of ideas for the magazine.
Fired!
My life is so over.
Fired!
And so we finally begin the game.
James, was that Bratz Rock Angels I just heard from upstairs? Okay, have a nice day.
And before I talk about anything else, I should just say, yes, I am aware that this game is aimed at young girls, but that's no excuse to make probably the laziest, most forced, and most hilariously patronizing tutorial I have ever seen in my life.
I suppose I should press the triangle button to get that. I suppose I should select that text from Chloe and press the X button to read it. I feel so down I can barely even bring myself to follow the arrow that's pointing towards the smoothie bar.
I mean, when games like this try to break the fourth wall this pathetically, I find it utterly joyous. Imagine if any other of your favorite games did that.
When you want to use the codec, push the select button.
But Colonel, since it's really cold down here, don't be surprised if I can't hit the select button to call you on the codec. The button could easily get stuck in the low temperatures after all. Oh, and Colonel, I'm so cold that I can barely use the arrow buttons to run around and warm myself up. BRB.
Oh, and by the way, this game is fantastic at teaching valuable life lessons such as this. Life lesson number 1.
Well, I may be blue, but at least I have this cool cell phone.
And then after that, we finally get our first taste of proper gameplay. I mean, it looks basic enough, but then believe it or not, these controls are fucked. Yes, even though running around is all you can do out here, and even though that's the only thing that these guys had all the time and resources to program perfectly, it's fucking broken. They are extremely slippy, and it feels like you're constantly running on top of a giant puddle of gravy on a kitchen floor. Not to mention, this is the worst camera I have ever seen. It's far too quick and gets stuck extremely easily, and due to the sloppy controls, whenever you turn it yourself, your brat goes apeshit and can't decide where she's actually walking anymore. This is a terrible start. Well, you know, just in case this wasn't a bad enough start for you.
Sorry, N.O.P. N.O.P.? Not our problem.
So we complete the first ever goal of walking, and a new plot thread is introduced. Jade, I think, is bummed about being fired and wants to go home, so the other brats organize a surprise party to cheer her up.
Sorry, everyone. I'm not in the mood to hang.
Oh, really? That's a shame. I had the noose ready.
Oh, here's another life lesson. Life lesson number 2.
You can't cheer someone up without something styling to wear.
And oh god, these cutscenes. Again, they aren't made for me, I know, but Jesus Christ, there are audio gaps everywhere, glitching hairs, completely lifeless and boring dialogue, and absolutely no music at all through any of them. And there's 7 minutes of it before we actually get to the core gameplay. But anyway, as you can see, the gameplay is presented on an open plane, so it's just like GTA. Full of twats! And basically, you spend the whole thing running into shops and buying shit. That's it. The whole game. In its entirety. Every goal is centered around makeup and clothes. But obviously you need to make money to buy this stuff, and this is where the random coins pop in. Do you see those randomly materializing things that are popping up every second that you walk past them? Yeah, as it turns out, you need them. You buy things with them, and they always appear behind you, meaning a complete and utter hack job of slippery turning circles and impossible targeting to get the coins that you need to buy the things which the goals state you need to buy in a game about fashion and makeup. But besides that point, for this goal that I'm doing right now, I need some clothes. But here's the funny thing, and by funny I mean not haha funny, but fuck you funny. No matter what you want to pick, everybody you bump into hates everything that you wear. It doesn't even matter if you get matching outfits, they all hate it.
Hi Jade, is that what's fashionable these days?
Hey Yasmin, that's some kind of statement you're making, right?
Is it Halloween already? What are you wearing?
Christ almighty, I'm playing a video game to escape from reality, not to mirror my life and have it insult me by reminding me that every time I go out I look stupid in public.
Feel free to try on anything you like.
Oh, you creepy bastard. Oh, and by the way, when you're in the shops, you hear music. How often are you in the shops? Not too much. When you're outdoors, you hear no music at all. How often are you outdoors?
Every 5 minutes.
I mean, you have no idea. This is one of the emptiest overworlds, if you can call it that, of any game I've ever played in my life. There is absolutely nothing going on. Nothing moves, there's barely any people around, the shop windows all look identical, there's no life in anything around you. It's just an empty, barren wasteland, and get used to it because you'll be out here for more than half of your playtime. And I guess I can't really comment as such, but I think that I'm in some sort of position to say that if I were a little girl, this would be nowhere near as glamorous or exciting as I would like it to be. I'd find it more interesting staring at cans of Asda brand beans.
Oh God, not you.
What are you playing?
None of your beeswax is what? Am I right? Am I right?
Well, that was just rude.
Says the parrot that shot me in my Fade to Black review.
Well, that's because you kicked me out.
That's because you broke in.
And that was because I was dying of thirst.
But why did you come to me?
Because I love you.
You what?
Is that Bratz Rock Angels? I fucking love Bratz.
Wait. You like Bratz?
Yeah. Who doesn't love dressing up like a skinny slut?
Okay, I don't ever want to see you again if that's okay.
Why? You're kicking me out again. Just because I love Bratz.
I'm kicking you out because you're coming on to me.
You discriminatory wanker. Boys can like girl things too.
You just told me you loved me. Get out.
Bratz is the best thing ever. Oh, I swear, you will not hear the end of this. I will buy you a doll. I'll buy you the outfits. I'll dress you up in the party costumes. I will bend you over and call you my bitch. I will spank you with the passion for fashion accessories until you beg me to This isn't the end, Caddy. This isn't the end.
And did I mention the navigating? Look at this. Look at the lack of variation. Look at the blandness. Look at the supreme lack of individuality. There are so many damn shops here that all sell different things, and yet they never thought to give a description to what every shop actually sells. And from the inside and outside, they all actually look exactly the same. There's no variation or any visual indication to what each shop actually sells. Confused much. And so that means that walking around the already awful overworld is accompanied by constant stopping and loading to browse through shops in which you don't know what they sell. Honestly, I can't see the patience of young girls lasting too long with this. I can tell you that for free. Although, when you're actually given a set goal to complete, you're completely restricted. You are told exactly where to go and exactly what to buy. You know, none of that fun freedom bullshit that kids like so much. So then, any attempt of exploring is not rewarded at all, and hell, it isn't actually even allowed.
Ooh, that's tempting. but I need the Treasures Compact.
And talking about the lack of freedom, the same can be said in the tutorials, which are still going, by the way. But they aren't just still going, you know, that wouldn't be bad enough. They are forcefully making me listen to every single boring word each brat has to say. No skipping and no movement allowed.
Press the X button on the little picture under our current compact and pick out a new one from the menu that appears.
I mean, Jesus Christ on a bicycle. If this game is just holding the hands of less experienced gamers, you know, that's fine. But please don't hold me back. It's pretty damn obvious what everything does. It's right there in front of me. You've already explained the basics to this, so let me figure some stuff out, please. We are playing an interactive and fun electronic video game, not sitting through math. And then every time you aren't restricted in a tutorial segment, you're slippy sliding your way through the town looking like a haystack with legs. But I suppose it is kind of worth waiting through the tutorials just for the glory of being free with makeup application. She is my canvas. I am Picasso. You know what I'm thinking? I think it's time for an obligatory montage. Go! Oh, lovely. I am disease. Ultimately though, as fun as that is, and as beautiful as it is of course, you're reduced to more walking in the worst overworld ever. I mean, I wouldn't mind so much if it was smaller, but it just takes 7 centuries to actually get anywhere. Well, I don't quite mean 7 centuries, literally, because, you know, that's impossible. But it feels like it, is what I mean. That's a joke, everybody. Okay, now I have to switch to another brat. Let's see here. Holy shit, ladies and gentlemen, we have officially decked her in the face. We have a cat fight right now. Oh, and then we get another tutorial repeat, which was the exact same tutorial from the very beginning of the game. No skipping, no moving. Arr. And did I even mention these loading screens? I swear, whenever you go into any shop, do anything, walk anywhere, select anything, a loading screen feels like it needs to appear. I mean, come on, game. You aren't exactly loading San Andreas.
I'm glad you came, Cool Cat. You look a little better.
Well, I can't say the same for you. Oh, and as it turns out, we can actually choose our background song for when we're indoors. Wow, let's see what's going on here. What do we have? Whoa, it's Green Day. I lie. It's just a shitty compilation of shitty acts that were up and dead rejects of the early 2000s. Well, actually, that's a bit too harsh. There are 1 or 2 really catchy songs in this soundtrack, and only 1 or 2, though, I hate to admit. I would play you some of the more awful ones, but, you know, copyright is a meanie, and I would interpret more of the awful ones in my own style, but Brutal Moose already did that joke, so let's move on. Yeah. Oh, and I lied earlier. There is actually another random gameplay element. Posing. Yeah! And it makes you more money. But what is it that you actually do in posing bits, though? Hit one button, wait. Hit the other button, wait. Hit another button, win. I'm awfully confused about the inclusion of a time limit for something like this. All I can do is hit one button and wait. I mean, I can't go much faster than that, can I? And then some more plot happens. The Bratz decide to get back at the magazine company that fired Jade, I think, so that they can get revenge. And to do that, they buy their own office block to work in.
Get ready to feast your eyes on the most totally slamming loft in all downtown.
Well, if it's not slamming in, then I'm not interested in it.
But unfortunately, it isn't actually that nice in there, which causes great disdain amongst the Bratz.
Ow! A rat!
A rat! A rat!
But then all of a sudden, the place is miraculously fixed without any of my involvement, so what was the point of any of that? I don't know, who gives a shit?
Don't forget, we've laid down some serious blings to get this magazine up and running.
No sweat, Bunny Boo.
Ah, well, that's just racist. By the way, what is actually going on right now? Like, seriously. This is called Bratz Rock Angels. Where are the bands, the rock music, the instruments, anything to do with what I'm seeing on the cover right now?
This isn't Rock Angels. It's magazine maggots. Oh, you know, screw this. I'm looking it up. Okay. So, as it turns out, the PC version of Bratz Rock Angels follows the Rock Angels story. Every other version does not. The PS2 version of Bratz Rock Angels doesn't follow the Rock Angels story. The PS2 version of Bratz Rock Angels doesn't follow the Rock angel.
More boring tasks, more walking, more nothing at all. Whoopity-doo, de peppy-doo, de poo-de-doo, pep-poo-de-doo. You know, we've had lots of great life lessons for the young ladies in this game, but they've missed out the most important one for this. The I can't live without a fossil boy that forever only belongs in the early 2000s lesson. I mean, I keep on texting Cameron, but he never gets back to me. Ever. Well, don't worry, Cameron. I'm no quitter, because one way or another, I'm gonna text you. I'm gonna fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. I mean, damn, I even got myself some sexy rollerblades to make you like me, and still, he says nothing to me. And guess what? These blades suck. Combine the slippery controls with a wide turning circle and little to no agility, and you have the blades. And hey, you can design t-shirts. Guess what? It sucks. You have barely any choices for anything, and the cursor moves at a snail's pace. You know, where all of these mechanics and goals may appeal to girls, this game is basically just a more restrictive, cheaper, less fun, and choppier version of real life. Why would someone waste their time on something as broken as this for the sake of doing something that would be more fun in real life? And seriously, that is all that this game is. There is nothing more to it. You get different environments occasionally, but every goal, every forced tutorial, every broken control scheme, it just does not change ever. I even got myself a camera, and even that sucks. Perhaps I can get my revenge on Cameron for ignoring me by becoming a creepy stalker. Not going to pay attention to me, Cameron? Well then I'll stalk your unsettling noseless face forever until I can show everyone the best pictures I can grab of you. Cum face.
You know what I can't even be doing with this bollocks anymore? I've had a fucking enough of it. I can't do it. Bratz. Bratz. More like Gnatz. Am I right? Yeah. Bratz. You suck, you're gross, and nobody likes you. And you're annoying. Like Gnatz. Yeah. Yeah, perfect analogy if you ask me. Yeah, Bratz, the splatty rats that are gnats covered in Shatz. You know, I could just slaughter this game, but honestly, that's too fucking easy. I mean, that's the coward's way out. I mean, it was obvious that this game was going to be slaughtered the second that I mentioned it in my last Caddicarus episode, so you know what? That'll be too quick, too easy, and too painless. You know what? No. I can't do that. No, I can't do that. I can't do that. It's 200,000 subscriber special. I owe the beautiful people something much better than this. I mean, seriously, there must be something, anything, the tiniest minuscule thing, there must be something worth playing in this. There must be something. Come on. I owe all of you guys much better than this. Much better than just a simple shooting this game and then calling it a day. No, there must be something. I'm gonna fucking find something, okay? I'm gonna find something. I owe you all much better than this. Come on. Let's go.
Well, it's about time someone pushed the limits of bad taste. I suppose, 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 I suppose.
Hi! Oh, I have no time for you right now. No.
Oh my god, is that Bratz game?
You're too old for it! Girls!
What?
I don't want this anymore.
What would you want me to do with it? We can smash it to pieces. Come on! And we don't know who digged this in the hole, do they, Caddy?
No, they don't.
No.
Greetings and salutations, my beautiful people. I've got a spot. And a couple of months back, I did a top 10, which was entitled My Top 10 Games That I Like, But No One Else Does. And that kind of demonstrated how much of an idiot I am. And sometimes, you know, we can all have those games in the world that are critically really bad and technically really bad, or for whatever reason, but we just like them. So you know what I thought I should do? I should do a follow-up video to that and make a complete cock of myself and make the top 10 games that I don't like, but everyone else does. Because, you know, that first video just needed a sequel that was dedicated to the opposite concept. And so, the title of this video is being aptly renamed to Caddy's Death Sentence. Royal Wedding 2011, because then that will give me a few more views on it. This is not, I shall repeat, not an overrated games list, because it isn't an overrated games list. And I'm not going to be spending this video slagging off other people and calling everyone an idiot because they have a differing opinion to me, because you know what? That's just fucking absurd. When all fun and joking is aside, when people start getting unnecessarily nasty and mean-spirited about something as silly as what we do and don't like, that is childish, stupid, just outright dumb, very hypocritical, extremely hypocritical, and simply devoid of what makes gaming culture so interesting, fun, and diverse. Unless, of course, you like Dalmatians 3 or Rascal Racers, because they're both fucking terrible and everybody can see that. So yeah, in this video, I'm gonna try explaining to my best capacity why I personally don't like these games. And you know what? If you like them, that's fucking great. Good on you. Thousands, if not millions, of other people from all the games in this following list will agree with you on that. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. At all. I can see why people would love these games. But I don't. And that's it. Nothing more than that. Like I said, there's nobody out there that likes every single game ever made in the universe, so we all have these certain opinions on certain games where we can't see why everyone absolutely adores them. It's all just opinions at the end of the day, and I thought it'd be pretty fun to share some of these following games and my opinions towards them, so that's it. Let's just fucking shut up and get on with it.
Number 10 goes to the Call of Duty series. Why number 10? Because obvious choice is obviously obvious. Now, I'm not going to be one of those people that just call the games shit because they are, because technically, as games, they work. The shooting's great, the weapons are varied, tight controls, they all look good, it ticks all the right boxes for fast-paced Saturday night entertainment. And you know what? I actually really fucking loved the earlier COD games, especially Finest Hour. But you know what as well as that? After God knows how many pointless iterations, constant sequels that are basically the same game every year with different settings and maps, and utterly ridiculous plots given no thought or care into them at all, I need a little bit more from an FPS than what they deliver by just changing the jacket that they wear every year. Yes, they technically work and everything's okay, and I know I'm not alone on this opinion, but please, Call of Duty, some kind of originality would be fantastic. Thanks. Oh god, this list is just gonna end up being a list of video game series, isn't it? It's a serious. I never hear the end of people that hate me for having this opinion. Never hear the end. And you know what? I still stand by what I think no matter how many times I replay the earlier games. Why the Assassin's Creed games are so high up on this list though is because my girlfriend actually convinced me to get Black Flag on PS4. And you know what? After much skepticism, I fucking love it. That game is awesome. And then after playing through Black Flag with a brand new, fresh mind on Assassin's Creed, I tried 1, 2, and 3 again to see if I was just being a stubborn asshole when they came out. And you know what? I'm sorry, but I still do not like them. Personally, I found them to be repetitive, boring, with terrible characters, and I could not control the games at all. Meaning I always used to get caught by guards, and then once I tried evading them, I'd climb up the walls and immediately bounce off of them and fly all over the fucking place like a fucking bouncy ball in between 5 million table legs, and oh god, I don't like these games. So yes, Black Flag, for me, fixed everything that I didn't like about the earlier Assassin's Creeds, but as far as calling 2 the best one of the series, I'm afraid I can't agree with that. No, that's not right, I mean... Number 8 goes to a pretty obscure horror game and not actually one of the most popular out there, Siren Blood Curse on PS3. I've never spoken to anyone who's heard of this game, but if you have, then good for you. That means you must have done what I did and spend a fucking ungodly amount of money either finding an expensive pre-owned physical copy or buying each expensive episodic part on the PS Store, or maybe even just reading about it. I wish that's all I did. Read about it. Because playing it's a fucking nightmare! Okay, this may not be as popular as your Silent Hills or Resi Evils, but hey, the critical acclaim for this game was out of control. For me though, this game was the biggest wasted potential for anything I've ever seen ever. Creepy as fuck ideas, run and hide gameplay style, horrifically unsettling Japanese horror elements and visuals, and an awesome game mechanic called sight jacking, allowing you to enter the sight of your zombie enemies and see how they behave and react to what's around them. This sounded fucking terrifying. But for me, the game was far too dark and black and open-ended, making it very easy to get lost and frustrated. The camera was a fucking joke, the puzzles were ridiculous and stressful, and the controls, oh lord, the controls. Clunky, confusing, and overall, I did not like them at all. Instead of being challenging and scary, it was just unfair and really frustrating most of the time. I swear, controlling my cuddly toy parrot with my mind is more functional than this damn game. I swear. Angry Birds is a little bit fun. For a few minutes, and for me, that's it. It's an okay time waster and an okay puzzle action physics game thing. But hey, let's just step the fuck back for a second. When was the last time you saw a kid wearing an Angry Birds t-shirt? Or when was the last time you saw an Angry Birds plush toy? Or Angry Birds posters? Or Angry Birds action figures? Or random Star Wars Angry Birds merchandise? Or Angry Birds condoms? Basically everything fucking Angry Birds! Not to mention even an Angry Birds trilogy and Star Wars game on PS3 and PS4, which overall actually cost more than double what the same exact games cost on the Android and Apple app stores. I don't understand it. How could you even make this supposed TV series and rumored movie about slingshotting pissed off birds at pigs? How? I know I said that getting pissy and kiddie about this kind of stuff is wrong with gaming, but I'm actually only annoyed out of a complete lack of understanding. You could even say it makes me angry. Yeah, I don't get it. The games are okay, but I have no fucking idea what makes them that good. Someone in the comments, please explain this, showing all of your working, and I shall grade you at the end of the day. Class dismissed. Number 6 is the story of how I played probably the most requested game I ever had, next to Spyro the Dragon. Ha! And that game is known as Heart of Darkness, on the PlayStation El Nombre 1. I heard about how legendary and incredible this game is to no end at all, day in, day out, all over the place, in my Facebook messages and all of my @tags on Twitter. And then by complete coincidence, it turned out that my good friend the Completionist mentioned that he'd be reviewing this particular game in his collaboration month, and he asked me to guest star. Luckily, my friend Daz gave me his copy so I could give it a go, and sorry guys, I just didn't like it. I mean, I love cinematic platformers, all you gotta do is watch my Oddworld retrospective to figure that out, but for something, you know, cinematic, I thought that the FMV was ugly as shit, the plot was terrible, the controls were very slippy, and the design of each stage just made absolutely no sense for me. Everything that you interact with in the environments, you know, to progress the story, are equally as pre-rendered into the background as the plants and the rocks, and it's never actually made clear what you do with what, forcing you to just fire at everything and jump around over gaps blindly, hoping that you won't bump into a random obstruction or an enemy that you've never encountered before to come out of nowhere with no telegraphed attacks and kill you in one hit. Now this wouldn't be too much of a problem if this was a fast-paced, quick respawning checkpoint platformer, but that's not what this game is. It's a slow, drawn-out, cinematic experience, atmospheric platformer. But hey, that's just my stupid opinion, right? I hear people telling me all the time that the only reason I rate this game so low is because I'm completely shit at it, and the game isn't actually that hard because they beat it as kids very easily. But here's the thing, the design of this game hasn't changed since then. So when we're all kids playing all of these different games, we have all the time in the world to learn what the fuck is going on, and then no matter how many times you revisit it in the future, your mind remembers these things. It burns itself into your subconscious. I, however, a first-time playing adult with a lot going on in my life right now, don't have the time to learn everything. And after a week's worth of trying to play and beat this game for Gerard's review, I just couldn't do it. So, sorry, I guess. Number 5 may surprise a ton of people. It'll be so much of a surprise considering how much I love this franchise that I decided to narrate over no gameplay footage or music at all so that nobody could guess what I'm talking about until I say it. Okay, here goes. Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes, or more specifically, the GameCube remake of Metal Gear Solid 1. Yes, I should love this game, shouldn't I? Shouldn't I?
Dirty little beast.
But I don't. At all. Don't get me wrong, the effort behind this game is insane. There are brand new cutscenes for the story. The entire script was respoken by the voice actors. The entirety of Metal Gear Solid 2's game engines were implemented into the original game design. The graphics are so good. And that's exactly what I don't like about this game. All of those fucking things. Personally, I thought that the new cutscenes were pointless and unbelievably cheesy to a point of sucking me out of this serious nuclear world detonation story. The redone voices are, in my opinion, bad and nowhere near as gritty, serious and believable than in MGS1. Not to mention extremely overdramatic to a point of 80s rock ballad fist clenching.
This is Snake. Colonel, can you hear me? Loud and clear. What's the situation, Snake?
This is Snake. Colonel, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. What's the situation, Snake?
And where the graphics are great for the time, taking the game mechanics and engines from MGS2 and implementing them into the claustrophobic and industrial office-like level designs of MGS1 just, in my opinion, do not work. There was nothing wrong with what MGS1 did, and if you want to add new things into a remake, make them fun and necessary to accommodate the original game design. Not just add in first-person views and context-sensitive shooting points with ultra-clever enemy AI with backup calling abilities into something as crowded and extremely corridor-esque as MGS1. Twin Snakes. Great idea, but in my opinion, sloppy execution. And hey, Otacon looks like fucking Skeletor, alright?
Yeah, Solid Snake.
Number 4 is Left 4 Dead 2. Left 3, 4, 1, 4, 6, 9, Dead 2, 8, 7, 5. I played Left 4 Dead 1 ages ago when I was younger, and I didn't think it was that great, but after all of my friends recently told me how much fun and great Left 4 Dead 2 was online, I gave in and bought it. After all, I don't want to be left out. Left 4 Dead out. And after God knows how many hours trying to find what was so great about this, I just couldn't. Sorry guys, I didn't like the lack of weight or impact that the guns had, how paper thin the zombies were, how boring the map designs were, and yeah. When that is all that your game is, and that's kind of it with what I don't like about them, then the whole series just doesn't really appeal to me whatsoever. Not to mention that I couldn't actually see much of a huge difference between 1 and 2, so I don't know. You guys can have fun online with your own selves, but I'll be forever non-understanding with all of it. My apologies. Number 3 goes to a game I just never saw the hype with. Halo. When it came out, I didn't like it, and today, I don't like it. When I was a kid on this game's release, I didn't like this game because I just didn't. No explanation, it just didn't interest me. It didn't excite me, it didn't scare me, it didn't suck me in, so basically I just gave up. But even today, going back onto it after liking the look of all the other games, I still don't like it. But there was a reason this time round, because of one simple thing. Not because of the environments or the shooting or any of that stuff, because of Master Chief. Or John, whatever his fucking name is. I just didn't find him very interesting. At all. In fact, any of the characters. And considering the epic scenes and serious badass moments that this game impressively shows off, especially for the time, the lack of caring about my main character, along with everybody else, is a huge problem for me in a lore such as this. I can actually completely relate this with the same story I experienced with Dead Space 2. Isaac Clarke was such a cool guy in Dead Space 1, but then take his helmet off and open his mouth and the entire story felt dampened by a boring slate of a main character. At least in my opinion anyway. So guys, you gotta let me know if Halo 1 can be skipped without actually losing the plot, and if Master Chief actually turns out to be an interesting character in the later games, I will give this series another go for sure. But as it stands right now, yawn. At least for me. And it's at number 3 because I feel very alone on that front. Yes, I don't like Sonic Adventure 2. Shoot me. I don't like Sonic Adventure 1 as well, but when everyone talks about the best Sonic games, or hell, the best games ever made, Sonic Adventure 2 always creeps its way into people's thoughts on a scarily common basis, and I mostly feel completely alone with not liking it. I mean, I'm not the biggest Sonic fan as it stands anyway, but I just don't understand what the appeal of this game is whatsoever. A few years ago, I borrowed the GameCube port, which was the battle version or something, and then even in the first few seconds of gameplay, if you move the analog stick so slightly off to the left or the right, Sonic flies up to fucking Mercury. I don't know if anyone gets what I mean, but I just found this game to be so damn jittery for what it was trying to do. The speed here for me was just unfair and unmanageable. It works great on a 2D plane, and hell, it even works really well on Sonic Generations for 3D. But here, for the whole game, I personally spent it like this.
Run fast, hit a wall. Run fast, hit an enemy. Run fast, try to turn left or right, fly off the fucking map.
And then when other characters started getting involved and you slow down the game with the platforming bits and the treasure hunting, digging shit, and oh lord, I shiver to think about them. Yes, I stick my hands up. I'm probably really shit at this game, but hey, if I were any better at it, it still doesn't mean I'd like it anymore. It just doesn't rub me the right way, you know? And also, I thought that those cutscenes were unbearable. I know it's Sonic, so cheesiness is a given, but awful voice acting, outright awful jokes, and choppy animations just don't appeal to me. I don't find them charming, I don't find them really that long-lasting, I just find them bad, I guess. Am I the only one that thinks this? I hope not, because I'm starting to really feel alone now, and I think everyone hates me. The chances are none of you are going to understand my number 1 pick. I mean, I grew up with the PS1. That was my childhood console. I never grew up with a Nintendo console, only the PlayStation. And I cover PS1 games nearly all the time on my review show. So theoretically, being so in love with that console, I should love this game. But I don't. My number 1 pick goes to Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, string me up, hang me, shoot me, burn me alive. Shove a pitchfork up my ass! I feel so completely, goddamn, utterly secluded and alone, more so than any other game on this list, for not liking Final Fantasy VII. I mean, from the get-go, the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of static turn-based combat is a big problem anyway, at least with no skillful reaction mechanics spiced in to make it actually interactive with the player. But when I heard from everybody about the masterpiece that is Final Fantasy VII, and after everybody says, oh, but you do PS1 games, why don't you talk about Final Fantasy? And the fact that FF7 is supposed to be the best game on the PS1, you know what, I had to try it out. There was so much hype built up with this game. I then got 3 hours into the game. 3 hours, and I didn't like it. I tried my hardest to like it, believe me. I didn't want to be a huge PlayStation fan that didn't like FF7, so I really stuck with it as hard as I could, and after every 30 minutes of play, I just waited for something worthwhile or interesting to happen, and then once I got 3 hours in and found myself getting really bored, I just couldn't continue. Where I loved the intro, loved the story build-up, loved the music, and loved the visual style, especially the FMV, I didn't like the combat, I didn't like the random encounters, I didn't like navigating and exploring, and I couldn't care less about my characters. I couldn't stand any of them. And at the end of the day, no matter how much I love the cinematic appeal to this game, that's what this is. A game. And I did not like the game or the way it played. And I did not care an ounce enough for what was going on after 3 hours of my time to carry on with it. I know people are probably gonna say, oh, you should have put more time into it, or 3 hours, everything gets going, or blah, 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 but 3 hours is a long time for anything, especially a PS1 game, to try and engross the audience. So, sorry guys, I'm so sorry. I gave it my best shot, but no. I'm a fucking idiot.
So there you have it, my top 10 games that I don't like, but everyone else does. Not the most overrated at all, but just the games I don't like. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and as always, leave all of your fucking comments in the comment section, because I am so interested to see what all of you guys have, well, think about what I think, and what games that you just don't like and everyone else does and you can't understand why people like it. Just share away. I'm very interested to know, because you know what? We all have those games. All of us. And until next time, if it's your birthday today or watching this video, then happy frickin' birthday to you, and please remember to stay beautiful. I'm gonna die, aren't I? I might as well just fucking get it over with.